we are live.
Fantastic. Thank you, Cameron. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7, I think, of Hall of Gamers podcast.
This week, know what episode we're up to.
It's a joke. It's a thing. I know that it's only been 7 episodes, mate. Christ. Anyway, you know I have to edit the video version of this, put the music anyway. Fine. Just ruin my fucking intro. Great start. This week, I'm joined by the ever-annoying Cameron.
Hey.
And the wonderfully talented Lee Howard.
Hello. Evening.
This week we're going to be talking about some Gamescom news. There's going to be a lot of Halo chat and some stuff about some mind-bending puzzles. But first, Cameron's going to transition us to a song of the week.
Sweet.
Am I getting a bargain for this? I've been dying to play it anytime it goes on sale. I guess I'm spending it all this week. Check on the list, see who else has played it. There's nothing missable, and the guy says it don't take very long. Grab my card, buy a game. I'm almost peer pressured into playing all the babies. We're gonna download this Ratalaika, and then we're gonna skip all the cutscenes. Stay in #1 in New Zealand. 1 hour trash for quickie completions.
Sweet. All right. Let's swap back. I know the song. This is like the easiest song ever for me.
Well, as long-time listeners and watchers will know, Cameron has often been complaining about the song of the week because he's uncultured and doesn't know anything that was released before.
In my defense, I sent you an Elton John song like 3 days ago.
I mean, you sent me half an Elton John song,
Okay,
sure.
okay. I'm just like, I've tried to make something with this. If you can make it work, here's an old song.
I mean, you've ruined what I was going to do for next week, but that's fine. That's fine. That seems to be the theme of this episode, but whatever. All right, Cameron. Let's go to, I guess, Lee, do you know what the song is?
I know the song, but I don't know what the song is now. I know it, the tune-wise.
Okay,
your words are confusing me. I think that's the problem.
That's fair. They confused me too.
Hmm.
Anyone in the chat?
You know what I was thinking today? I really miss Nick.
You really you really miss one Mad Rocketansky.
Yeah.
He does. Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. Char's got it. Fall Out Boy. Well, what's the song, Cameron?
Sugar, We're Going Down.
Got it in one.
Can you guess the album though?
It wasn't Under the Cork Tree, was it?
Yeah, it was from Under the Cork Tree.
It was the Cork Tree. So yeah, that was.
Okay.
That was like Dance Dance, and those are the 2 albums of those.
Dance Dance. Of all the gin joints in the world.
I feel like this is rigged slightly towards him. This whole one today.
I can assure you that is not the case 99% of the time.
Not usually. Like I was saying, Cameron hasn't heard a song from before 1992. So unfortunately, usually when I do something from the 80s or the 70s or God forbid the 50s, he wouldn't have a clue.
I was going to say if it's 50s, I've got no idea.
When I did Nat King Cole, that apparently did not go down very well. But at least I didn't pick Mumford and Sons, so we've got that going for us at least. All right, well, let's get into the housekeeping then. So we've got our Discord, discord.io/gpngg. Basically, if you don't know what a Discord is, it's basically a place where you can come hang out with us. It's a big chat room where we've got various channels around things like, it's a lot of meme channels, to be honest, but there's also topic discussions, stuff about anime, movies, TV, video games, obviously. Food, yes, absolutely. The food channel's a great one. So you can come meet us there. We've also got our own section here for Hall of Gamers where we talk about the show. We've got questions. We do our challenges, which we'll talk a little bit about later. And it's also the best place to keep up to date with what's happening with the show. If there are any delays or any, if we're going early or we're going to put out an episode or we've done anything with our Patreon, that's the best place to find out and also the best place to get in contact with us. We've also got our Twitch, GP and Hall of Gamers, which hopefully you're watching on right now. But if you aren't, we do live stream this show for our audio listeners and for our people on YouTube watching this later. So make sure you come join us. We do this 8:30 New Zealand time every Friday night. And we've also got a Ko-fi. Or is it pronounced Ko-fi or coffee?
I think it's coffee.
I think it's coffee, right? But it's anyway, it's a Kofi. Basically, it's a place where you can donate to us. If you don't want to give us money on a recurring basis alongside a subscription through Twitch or through Patreon, if you want to just give us a one-off and so we can, buy Mountain Dew and Doritos, that's the best place to do it. Having said that, we also do have our Patreon, patreon.com/ was it GP and Hall of Gamers?
Yeah.
Where basically you can give us some cash each month, and that allows us to run the show, do competitions, pay for equipment, Zoom costs, that kind of stuff, distribution, and allows us to do fun stuff like our Patreon draw. Everyone who signs up for the Patreon, we've got 3 different tiers. You basically, every tier gets an extra entry. So at tier 1, you get 1 entry. At tier 2, you get 2 entries. And at tier 3, you get 3. So we do our Patreon draw, which is a competition where we just draw a random name, and they get a game out of we've got a poll, right?
Yeah. So we do a poll at the start of the month, out of 3 games that we really like the look of, and 1 month of Game Pass Ultimate. The community decides what game that you're going to get as the prize, or out of all the patrons, what they want to win. The winning person will get the most voted prize.
Yeah, and so
but if you have a double of it, then we'll just be nice and give you something else.
Yeah, we'll give you something else, or you can give it to someone else, or whatever you want to do. The code's yours, whether you want it or not. It's the end of the month, so we're going to draw the winner. Cameron, this is where you insert your drum roll sound effect that you've got ready to go, right?
That's
okay, yeah, that's what I thought. All right, the winner is Charlotte. Congratulations, Charlotte. I know that she's moderating the chat right now, and it's hella rigged and scripted.
It's fixed. Yeah,
it's exactly right. Yeah, this is just like on RGS when I won 3 competitions in a row. But she, to be fair, she is a tier 3 subscriber, so she has 2 extra entries than a singular subscriber. So
you need to be in it to win it.
Absolutely.
Or a moderator.
Yeah, or exactly, yeah. Moderate the chat for free. Whatever works.
So what does she win, Matt?
So she wins a copy of Death's Door, which is a highly rated game that I believe you reviewed, Cameron.
Yeah, it's really good. I need to go back and get the completion, but it is a really, really good game.
I'm actually a little bit jealous because that game looks fantastic. So I'm hoping you enjoy it, and if you don't, that sucks. It's fine. Better luck next time.
So I'll hook up the prize for you because I know if Matt does it, it will be hella rigged. And he'll take the code for himself.
That's okay. No, that's only partially true. Okay, that only happened like 5 times. All right.
Only.
Hey, that's a really good prize. Also, Cameron's got our Unity competition that you've started up.
So pretty much over on the Twitter, if you go to the original post and pretty much tag 3 friends in, follow us, and retweet the tweet, you're going to running to win 4 codes of Assassin's Creed Unity for Xbox One. Jeez, I can't talk tonight. Pretty much we will give the winning prizes to the winning account, and then you can distribute it amongst your friends. Great co-op game. I really enjoyed it back when it first launched. I didn't have the launch issues that everybody else did, except for some of the face animations.
Or lack of.
Just great.
Yeah, exactly.
But going back to some of the older Assassin's Creed games, after our recent Assassin's Creed podcast for Lights, Camera, and Action, really enjoyed them. And the polish is there that might not have been there at launch.
It's underrated, that game, I think.
Unity's quite good.
Yeah.
I think Unity...
It's small and compact, which is quite nice. Yeah. It's not a massive, ridiculous game. It's quite nice.
Yeah, that is one of the better things about it. And I think that they have kind of exploded over the last few games to make it
a little bit, yeah.
A little bit, right? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's kind of a different direction.
All right, I'm turning off Nightbot.
What's happened? People
Nightbot doesn't like excitement. Yeah, he's too excited.
No. Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
I'm just waiting. We're just going to be hate rated
exactly. Turn off Nightbot. And also, as Cameron mentioned, we also do another podcast as part of our Patreon called Lights, Camera, and Action, which is a movie podcast where we talk about video game movies. Most recent episode was Assassin's Creed, as he mentioned.
Oh, okay. What was can you just give me a quick, because I've seen it and I'm kind of curious.
The podcast or the movie?
The movie, yeah. Just a real quick one-liner. What do you thought of it?
Actually, as you're doing that, explain, because I found something yesterday.
Oh, God. This better not be another fucking puppet. I swear to God.
Will he come back again?
Fingers crossed he doesn't. Well, actually, he needs to change the scenes, so hopefully he does.
Oh, I hope. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Just leap into his computer and take over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really do need remote access. But yeah, the movie is overly long and has poor character development, but is relatively inoffensive otherwise.
Do you think they're just trying to squeeze all the Assassin's Creed into one movie?
Kind of, yeah. So like, oh wow, for the movie?
Yeah, I was just like, where did I get this?
You say, do you remember buying that? You just get given it.
I moved, and I'm just like, what? I think PAX. I think from one of the lucky dips.
Lucky.
Do you want to tell everyone what you're holding up?
Yeah, just
so Adula from the movie, the Assassin's Creed movie, the popular, award-winning trilogy.
Well, planned trilogy, but yeah.
Oh, really? But the first one wasn't very good, so
they didn't do any more. Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically the kind of what Cameron and I sort of realized as we went through the movie was that the entire, it's essentially trying to cram Desmond's story into a 2-hour experience.
Yep.
But it's different in ways that don't really make sense, and similar in ways that also just kind of don't need to be. So it kind of it doesn't really make a lot of sense. They didn't just do the whole Desmond story from the beginning, when it's like that's the story people know. But it's like apparently it fits into the universe, and it is part of the Assassin's Creed mythos or whatever you want to call it, So I mean, it was okay. Like, we also have a ranking system for Lights, Camera, and Action where we rank the movies in terms of where they sit over top of each other. So obviously, there's only 7 movies or so on there at the moment, but it's sort of ranked middle of the pack. So
you're right. It's inoffensive. That's what it is.
Yeah. Whereas something like Super Mario Brothers was highly offensive.
Of its time, though, I think that was.
I mean, like I loved it as a kid, but going back and watching it, Jesus Christ.
Don't do that. No.
But so I've just finished watching this week the latest episode's movie, Need for Speed. Yeah. So that the Aaron Paul classic, because apparently he can't get any work after Breaking Bad. Not that he needs it.
No.
So we'll probably be recording that this weekend to have out next week for the next month's Patreon. So if you want to listen to that, that's the best place to do it. And yes,
it does, Jim Bing. Yes, it does.
It does have a movie.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you right now, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's not. Yeah,
it's fine.
It's all right, actually.
Yeah. It's Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Don't expect too much, and it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I was expecting the worst thing I've ever seen, and it wasn't quite that. So
that's fine.
But I don't want to give away all the content because some people do pay for it.
Watch it. Yep.
But also, if you do want to listen to the old episodes, the first 4 of them are up for free on our Patreon. So go check those out and see if you like it. And if you do, chuck us a couple of bucks, and you have access to all the ones going forward, along with the competition and all the other fun stuff we want to do. And
typically, as all these Patreon podcasts go, the quality content is behind the paywall. It doesn't get good until episode 5.
Yeah, basically. Actually, yeah, kind of. Yeah, this is actually true. All right. Well, let's enough of that bullshit. Lee.
Yes.
You're here.
Hi.
So we want to probably thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you for sitting through that. We want to ask you a few questions because I mean, look, this the thing is the question's going to be who the bloody hell are you, right? Like why we've got you on? Who are you? What do you do?
I find that highly offensive. Aussies can't travel at the moment.
I know. I feel like I'm in the school headmaster's room.
You can't use lines from Aussie tourism to bloody interview our guests in the middle of a fucking lockdown, Matt.
Oh, look, we're locked down too. Like, I haven't left my house for several months. And the lockdown's only been a couple of weeks, but that's beside the point.
If only I could live in Western Australia at the moment. Fuck.
I don't think anyone's ever said that. All right, so Lee, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. In podcasting terms, I've been doing the XboxCast for the last 5 seasons now. I think we just hit 5 years of doing it, which is pretty cool. And we're trying to be New Zealand based, which, because there is no other New Zealand podcast, bizarrely enough, it's kind of weird. There's no other gaming podcast in New Zealand. It's really odd.
Not a single
you
one.
Guys, but I clash yours with Australia, so you don't count.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, he's basically an Australian, isn't he? He swears enough.
Well, I'm at the top of the leaderboard, so that's the main thing.
Yes. Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been doing Xbox gaming. Yeah, it's kind of weird. What else do you want to know?
Tell us a little bit about XboxCast in general, for those who don't know, just in case.
Oh, okay. So we're weekly. Every Tuesday night we record at about 8 o'clock New Zealand time. Unfortunately, two of the guys moved to Australia.
Oh.
So, that's a pain.
So you're moving into my territory.
I know. Yeah, I feel like they're...
You've
they're
got a
trying to leave
whole
me alone.
country that you're saying
I
that you
know,
want to do
they
your
go the
podcast.
opposite side. Yeah. So we do two podcasts. Do a Game Face one, which is where we talk about what games we play. And we also have a news one, which is called New News, which is literally a week's. I collect the news during the week, and then I drop in stories, and I basically do it to annoy Kyle. If I can find a story that I know Kyle doesn't like, or a person that he doesn't like, or a company he doesn't like, that's the story I drop in.
It's beautiful. I love it's just ongoing trolling that Kyle basically just has to sit through. And he's such a nice person, but it's just getting him riled up is just
it's so funny. And when he goes as well. I just sit back and let him go, and it's perfect. We also do themes every different month. We have different themes. If I could remember, that'd be good. We've just done Back to Your Backlog 2 this month, which is just finishing, and it's a game that you purchased and never played.
Yep. So I got involved with that. I did what I did, Omen Sight on Cameron's recommendation that I bought several years ago and never got around to playing. So I did that. I didn't get around to doing Starlink because the lockdown kind of messed up those plans, unfortunately. But it did let me get back to another game with Sinking City, which I'll talk a little bit about later on.
You say Starlink?
It's quite cool.
Starlink.
Yes. I found a
it's
box.
like he's got his head in his hands.
I found a boxed the starter kit when I moved as well.
You've just we'll talk about your move later. We'll talk about your move later on. This is about Lee.
That's right. It's all about me.
Exactly.
I'm trying to pull up. We have records of stuff. What happens? So we have.
I'm curious too. How long does a season run for you guys? Because I see all these other podcasts that do seasons, and I'm like, what the fuck is a season like?
So we do it for the year, basically.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So it goes. We have January. We kind of finish about Christmas time, and then have January off, and then start again in February. So we've done like 42 episodes this year so far.
Very nice.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah, we're on about episode 235 or something like that now. We're done. Yeah, been going quite a while.
Yeah,
we're slowly working it out. What to do, getting there.
So just the first 200 were just warm ups.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, actually, this year we kind of cracked it. We feel it is feeling really good now this year. Also, we do April Achievement Challenge, which is quite cool. So all of us go and get as many achievements as possible.
Which fits right in with us because we absolutely love that.
Yeah. And I don't have many. I have like 85,000 something. It's not a lot, but 1 month I did like 12,000 something like that, 13,000. So it was a huge. Yeah, it was a big one.
Absolutely.
And I kind of did to annoy Kyle again because I was really competitive, although he says he's not. So anything I do to annoy Kyle. So I just get enough to be behind him most of the time, or just in front of him. That's kind of my.
He has said in the chat here that he's tried to replace you, but apparently you didn't take the hint.
I'm still here. Now I do all the producing and stuff now and press a button so he can't get rid of me.
Exactly. It's just like Cameron's he's just done too good a job for the show. He knows exactly how to make himself irreplaceable. And it's like, mate, I couldn't do the show on my own. I mean, I could, but it would be even more narcissistic than it is.
It would be him on a blank screen.
Yes,
just singing to himself.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So surprisingly, it's just like me doing ASMR for some reason in a hot tub. I don't. Yeah, it's,
wow, what an image.
Exactly. Well, you like.
Would you get headphones with cat's ears on though, just to kind of?
I mean, I could do. I mean, look, I am a shameless whore for this stuff. I will do whatever the Twitch meta says is the best thing to do.
Okay.
As long as I'm getting views and that makes me money, I will just we've talked about doing the nude calendar for the Patreons. We just need to come up with enough. We just need to come up with enough poses for 12 months. Is the problem.
Do you have to do it in your house or outside though? Because of lockdown.
That's the problem, right? It's like I was like, well, I've only got so many rooms in my house, and flying Cameron over here, and it's like I could digitally add him in, but that doesn't really go. It doesn't really go with the spirit of the.
I know, but it could be quite funny to add him in though.
It would be actually pretty funny. I'm trying to have some ideas actually.
I know. I'm just thinking because they do a screenshot of his face now, and then just add him to different bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. And just, no, put the puppet down. Put
the puppet's getting
put the puppet down, Cameron. For our audio listeners, Cameron has been trying to introduce a puppet to the show. I've tried to point out the fact that it only works in a visual medium, so we're cutting off.
No, has it got a voice for the puppet?
Well, I mean, he's got a voice, but he's also a fucking shit ventriloquist. So it doesn't work. It doesn't work. All right, and we've got people in the chat screaming for no puppets.
No puppets.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Has the puppet got a name?
No, I need somebody to. Okay, I'm going to quickly detour about the puppet. The only reason I have the puppet is because my daughter was being a little shit on the weekend. And here me and Nikita are trying to move, and it's like, why won't you just stay still for 2 seconds? I know you're a 2-year-old, but like, you sat still last week and watched Need for Speed with me. Like, why won't you sit still this week?
Such good education.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she was loving it. She was absolutely loving it. But I found this puppet, which, like most of the things in my house, I don't know how the hell I got it.
Are you a kleptomaniac?
Well, I mean, he's definitely got his hands around something there, yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. Oh, you steal stuff without realizing it. You go, where did this come from? This glass I've got in my hand full of alcohol.
My problem is anything that's kid related, like anything relating to my daughter. It's like my parents just chuck it in my house, and it's like, where did I get this? Where did I get these like toys from? Like, I know if it's Toy Story, it's definitely come from my parents because I've just found that many Toy Story toys. Thomas the Tank Engine, I managed to get a full fucking crate full of old Thomas the Tank Engine. Is it any good? Like, the Thomas the Tank Engine stuff's pretty good. She plays with it, but they just put it in the cupboard in my house. I was like, all right, cool.
Oh, I just want to shout out to Odrin. Thank you for resubscribing, mate. Appreciate it. So, Cameron, your whole thing with your puppet, your pitch was, well, it worked really well on my 2-year-old child, and
so it's going to work great for you.
Well, I was going to say, like most of our listeners have usually the mentality of 2-year-olds. So, I mean, like I can understand the thinking. Like I get, like
I'm
I get
trying
the
to
connection.
cater to AHA.
I get it. Well. That's Admiral. Thanks for your dollars. We'll get to that. But all right, anyway, let's get back to Lee because I don't want to hear any more about this fucking puppet. All right, this is Jesus Christ.
I'll continue. Right. Okay. So
yes,
we do back to your backlog as well, which is quite a cool one. And that's literally a game you started. So not like the last one where you haven't started. This one you started. You went, oh yeah, I'll play that later, and then got distracted by Destiny or Forza or something else. Yeah, Assassin's Creed, any other game. Yeah, which is also quite good fun because then you kind of egg each other on and have a little review every week. You go, okay, I played this game and it's actually quite good, or I have regrets and stuff like this. So it's quite cool. Yeah. And there's another couple. Oh, we have Shock October. We're trying to think of a name of it.
Shocktober, yeah.
Maybe Shocktober.
So I'm guessing horror-based games?
Yes, for October.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
What do you recommend horror series for October?
Oh, I went through a phase with them. I played a couple. I played like Dead Space and that Blair Witch Project I had to put down because it's so bad. Blair Witch is just terrible. And Carl finished it, and he's like, "I'm going to finish this game." I was like, I can't play it. It's not scary. It's just bad.
It leaves Game Pass in like 4 days, and I'm like,
what a shame.
Myself to it.
You don't need to. It's not
right. Please don't do it. If you started it, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get those achievements. It's just a shocker.
Hall of Fame screws me out at every corner.
And there's a few other games. Yeah, I think we have events every year, which we've done for like 3 or 4 years now. And it's quite cool. It gets to Discord. We've got Discord, and all those guys get involved and cause trouble as well.
Yeah, I love you guys' Discord. You guys are also wholesome and helpful. And
they're cool, aren't they? They're so cool. We're really lucky, actually. With those guys.
Such a great community over there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like our community if they behave themselves, which I think that's usually how I describe it.
Pretty much it.
Yep.
So in terms of stuff, so you're also doing some work with GPN, correct?
I am, yeah. I haven't done actually. I've actually started writing something and I haven't finished it though. I'm a bit scared, to be honest. I've never written anything for anyone to actually read.
Sure.
I had a blog, 15 years ago, maybe. Yeah, probably 15 years. So that's the last time I wrote anything properly. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hey, got to get in somewhere. I mean, yeah. So we had Corey on last week for also on our GPN from our podcasting team. Are you able to reveal what you're writing about, or are you got any plans?
Yeah, I can actually. Yeah, so one I've written is it's Borderlands 2 review, like a respective review, which is quite cool. So that's what I did for my back to my backlog. Actually, what did I do that on? Yeah, that's when I'd started. I think I started it about 6 years ago, maybe.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it was really cool because I went through one of our listeners who's kind of complete skate. He's a complete. Oh, Kingsman.
Yeah, Kingsman. So he's one of our listeners too. Yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of just dragged me through it basically. He's like, this is cool, and yeah, just dragged me through the whole game. And then took me one of the first run. He went to the end and took me to fight against I called it the dragon, but it's like the beast, or whatever it's called.
The warrior at the end, yeah.
Yeah, the warrior. Yeah. So I saw him. I was like, cool. Got loads of gear, and then went back to my game, and then just completed my game through and got to it. I naturally got to it, and then so I completed the game. It's really good. Really impressed with that one. It was real cool.
Oh, that's fantastic. Are you got any other big plans for the GP and stuff after that?
I was going to do one. I've got a mate who's flies planes.
Oh.
So I was going to get him to play Flight Sim and get him to talk what he thinks of it compared to actually flying planes. I thought it was quite an interesting article. Yeah.
It's always interesting to see. I'm not sure who does it, if it's IGN or one of the other networks, when they get the actual person's profession playing the simulation.
That's right.
game.
Yeah. I'd love to get one of those proper flight sticks though, but they're impossible to get.
Yeah, they're just Well, especially now the flight sims come out, everyone's
that's right.
Got to get a flight stick and get the whole setup. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I have to sadly do it with controller, but then that could be more authentic for him to go. Okay, so the controller doesn't feel right, or yeah. So I did played it. I flew. I took off from Napier. I flew over my house.
Oh yeah.
You know, but the problem is I did the first time. I was like, coming up, this is really cool, but I did it at night time and it was really dark and you can't see anything. I was like, this is really dumb. So then restarted in daytime and actually saw my house, and it's pretty cool.
You got to watch out when you fly over Gisborne though, because you got to worry about the big hole that's the entire town.
Oh, you just get sucked into it.
Yeah. No, it's just a bunch of my mates were like, oh, we can't afford prices up here in Auckland, so we're all going to move to Gisborne, and then you just never hear from them ever again.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, no, and then they just end up being stoners on the beach all day working at Harvey Norman. All right.
We love you, Harvey Norman.
Not sponsored.
No, absolutely not. Let's talk a little bit about this kind of games you play and that kind of stuff. Play. What are you into?
I'm into Destiny 2 a lot until I kind of got bored of it middle of last year.
I've been hearing that a lot recently, actually. A lot of people have been like, I was on the Destiny train and then kind of just fell off.
Like 400 or 500 hours into it, but I've kind of got sick of it. I think it just repeats itself now. And literally, they bring out a new season. It's just more multiplayer. I'm like going, come on, some proper stories, some proper kind of content.
Well, they just had a crossplay this week, according to
Yes, I've got one mate who plays on PC, and I know a couple of guys that started it and were like, "Oh, this is cool," but there's no one playing it. I was like, "Well, I could actually jump on with my guy and just help you come through the story, because I love running the story. It's real fun to run the story all the time."
All my mates ditched Xbox like 3 years ago. So now I've just been nagged all week, and I'm just like, no, I'm moving house. Like, I don't have time to play Destiny 2 with you.
Yeah,
I mean, you put a lot. Both you guys put quite a bit of time into Destiny 2,
Destiny
right?
1 was like,
Destiny 1's the same, yeah.
Destiny 1 was like 800 hours for me, and Destiny 2 was like 200.
Jeez.
Yeah, I played the demo. Well, no, the beta. But very early beta of Destiny, and was like, this is amazing, because it feels like Halo. So it's like, this is amazing.
In terms of gameplay, it's, I don't want to say unrivaled, but it's pretty close. Like, it is really good. The only thing that let it down was the story.
Right. Yeah. They had, nearly wasn't. It nearly was awesome.
Yeah.
But then kind of just went, just quite missed it.
And then Destiny 2 Watch was just a joke to me compared to Destiny 1.
I don't know. I like the Destiny 2 when they killed you off almost. I thought that was quite a cool start to it. I did that a few times with characters.
Oh yeah, like when it was launched though, it was
a bit of a mess to start with.
Yeah. Trying to go too much with the PvP guys, I think that was the problem. Yeah. Which is not what I do. I don't do PvP, so I do actually. I got really good at it for a while, but you have to keep playing it. If you get out of the habit of playing it, then you're rubbish. Yeah. Me and Carl used to kick ass, but it's no good if you don't play enough. And then it gets too complicated building your guy as well. There's too many builds.
Yeah, exactly right. And obviously you got to have whatever the meta is to be on top.
It never used to be like that when I was playing way back in the beginning. It was never like that. You could just run through most things. As long as you were half decent, you'd be okay. But yes, what else did I play? Forza. So much Forza. Too much Forza probably. I'm more excited about Forza.
Horizon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, just lots of Forza. Especially Forza Horizon. Yeah, do love Forza Horizon. And I'm more excited about Forza Horizon 5 than I'm about Halo, to be honest.
Same.
I've done all the Halos, done all the campaigns on Halos. I haven't done much multiplayer. I've done lots of couch co-op on Halo. Like I had the original Xbox with the original Halo back 20 years ago.
Yep.
And couch co-op took through with my mate, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that was one of the first experiences I had with the Xbox too. Was my neighbor had an Xbox and he's like, "Hey, come over and play Halo with me." I'm like, "Well, like I've never really played FPS on a console because it's like it was a PC thing back in the day, and I just completely fell in love with it." And I was like, "Man, this co-op thing's like the best," and just like getting to go through and kill the shit out of a bunch of aliens together.
I always remember the last mission, completing the last mission for the first time, doing that stupid track and the ride on the Warthog.
Yeah.
And just going, because the first off you go, okay, and the mate turns around to go and get his gun and pings you out. You see, you're like, right, if you get out, just keep running. If I get out, just keep running. Don't turn around because you'll break it. Yeah, I just remember that. It took so many times to complete that game.
I remember doing that bit on, because it's like you get like 6 minutes to get out, and then
that's right,
and you like you only just make it, and then you put it on Legendary, and like, no, you got 5 minutes now, and you're like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Didn't make it the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
Anniversary's got like achievement, which is like that bloody close as well. Was a great mission though.
Oh yes,
it was an awesome mission. Yeah. And I think Halo 3 is really cool as well for that reason, because there's lots of cool kind of vehicle action on it.
Oh yeah, when I went back and played it recently, it was that moment where you're in the snow and you're driving the tank down, and the Scarab drops down, and the second Scarab drops down, and it's the Hornets everywhere, and you're like, this is, and like I remember playing that like with my mates, because our minds were just blown. Because you saw Scarabs in the second game because they didn't really do anything; they were just kind of static and just blast, and they were part of the story. I was like, no, you got to fight that thing. And everyone's losing their mind and
trying to jump onto it. Yeah,
exactly. Such a good time.
Yeah. So Halo, I play a bit of FIFA as well, a bit of sport. Do like my FIFA. And lots of random games basically. I do just jump into games and play them to see what they're like, which annoys Carl because he's a bit of a completionist and likes his percentages. But
I mean, to be fair, I've seen his percentages, but it's just it's fine. He can
just a number.
Just a number, mate. Yeah, it's fine.
I just looked just on the Xbox. Train Sim World just popped up. I played that game for like an hour or two, just to see what it's like. And you literally drive a train.
Oh, okay. So it does what it says on the box then.
Yeah, no, you walk to the train, you get in the train, and then you have to do like 7 things to get the brakes off to drive it, and then it goes along. Then you can get off the seat and walk in and talk to your passengers, basically walk down the carriages.
Okay.
What's wrong with that? That's completely safe.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's
exactly what drivers normally do. Just wander around.
Yeah, I'm just picturing like a Mass Effect version of that, where you're just the pilot of some sort of spaceship, and you're like, all right, cool.
All right, it's going.
Yes, it's going. I'm not really sure where. It's probably towards some sort of supernova. I'm gonna go hit on my coworkers, and try not to cause any HR violations.
Yes.
I was gonna say to Carl in chat, I don't think you can finish the train sim games. They always bloody have unattainables.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, usually you end up back where you started anyway. So
I wanted to go to Plymouth, my hometown, from London, which was possible, but I just could never get, because you keep breaking the rules all the time. You get kicked out if you break the rules. You have to get the speeds right.
Right.
And I can never go slow enough. And I'll get bored and go, I need to just go now.
Crank it up. Yeah, bullet train.
Go.
Yeah.
And there was an achievement for going over 60 miles an hour or 80 miles an hour or something. I was like, well, there's a target for me.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
an achievement I can get.
Exactly.
I do like my single player games as well, where you kind of go through and just, like the Assassin's Creed sort of style. Just thinking recently I played the Journey to Savage Planet. I played that one through. That's quite cool.
Yeah, really good game actually.
That's really cool. Yeah. And I'm waiting for number 2 to come out. I think that'd be fun.
Well, that studio, they retained the IP, didn't they, when they separated from Google?
I think so, yeah. So there's a good chance they'll do another one, yeah. All right, so pretty diverse in terms of games you play and genres and that kind of stuff then.
Yeah, I just completed Ascent actually as well. So that's
another
sort of a game.
I heard you talking about that actually. Yeah. So, we might get you to dig into some of that stuff later in the show then.
Yep.
All right. Do you have any other questions there, Cameron?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Lee. I think we'll kick into the news then. Cameron, what have you got for us this week?
All right, so we'll just start off with the easy stuff. Games of Gold got announced, I think, this morning.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Warhammer Chaos Bane on Xbox One, Series X and S, which will be September 1 to 30th. Zone of the Enders HD Collection on...
so good.
I've never heard of it. What is it?
Oh, it's Kojima's game he did outside of doing
Metal Gear?
Metal Gear, yeah.
Are you actually being serious?
I'm 100% being serious, yeah.
Oh, God.
Zone of the Enders is amazing. The first one is pretty good, but the second one is where it really hit its stride. It's a mech game. It's a flying mech game where you go around beating the shit out of other mechs and shooting them and stuff. It's not overly complex, but it's got a real style to it that is just like
Have you played this game then? Have you actually played?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Played and completed it. I played it on the original PlayStation 2 back in the day as well, and absolutely loved it. So highly recommend it.
Interesting. Samurai Showdown 2.
Oh, yep.
And Malacca, which I've never heard of before.
So Malacca's a pretty good one as well. It is a third-person action game in the style. If I was going to compare it to anything, I'd probably say like a Zelda game with a bit more platforming.
Okay.
So it's a lot of like doing dungeons, fighting bosses, collecting items, getting collectibles, that kind of stuff. There's a little bit of leveling mechanics and stuff in it. There's one achievement for not dying more than 10 times. It's a little bit difficult, but it's one of those games that I was like, it looked really, really interesting, and it's based on like Mexican folklore, I believe.
Okay.
So it's got a lot of really interesting sort of like narrative stuff in terms of like imagery, and I really like the art style. So I'd also recommend that quite a bit as well. So overall, pretty good month.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. Pretty much in terms of Game Pass, the one that's getting added on September 2nd will be Surgeon Simulator 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's both consoles.
Is that console as well? Yeah, that'd be quite hard on console, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it's on both.
And then Blair Witch will be removed on August 31st. Double Kick Heroes, Stranger Things 3, the game, and NBA 2K21. Stranger Things 3, you probably still got enough time to complete.
You need to be pretty quick on it, but you could do it.
It's a pretty good game.
It's not bad. I'll talk a little bit about it.
Do you think it's leaving because of Netflix?
That actually, I was thinking potentially yes, because the licensing for was it Dead by Daylight with their Stranger Things stuff is ending as well. So I'm wondering if there's just some sort of licensing deal that's kind of expiring across the board. But yeah, potentially. Because I know Netflix are kind of doing those, but I mean, Netflix published the game and developed it, so it's a Netflix joint. So it's kind of weird. Maybe they want to release it on another platform, or I mean, it's still you can still buy it, I suppose. But
I mean, it's their IP, so I don't know.
Exactly.
But it's coming on. If you have a Netflix subscription, you can play it, can't you, on an Android phone?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's which I guess makes sense considering that they're kind of moving in that gaming direction.
I wonder if Netflix will get achievements.
Maybe. But I probably.
What if Netflix was another platform to get achievements on?
I wouldn't do it. No way. Absolutely not. I'm invested in the ecosystem now, mate. I'm fucking how many years in now? I don't know.
It's new. You could get to the top
True.
Treat as the same system.
Treat as the same system. No. Ooh, oh yeah, it's like another list. Ooh, that could be dangerous.
I mean, we've had Switch achievements. Is Netflix achievements really out of the realm? Possibility?
I suppose. I mean, I suspect that it's probably to do with having some sort of exclusive streaming agreement with Microsoft, which is why it was on Game Pass in the first place, and then now that's expiring. What else you got?
Gamescom. Now, I didn't watch it because I was moving. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see how much you guys participated in this.
I picked up a few bits and pieces here and there. There wasn't anything too exciting. There was some stuff about Saints Row, which we'll talk a little bit about, but and stuff with Halo. But really, most of it's indie stuff or expansions on things that it was Dying Light. Dying Light 2, I think it was. They talked a little bit about as well.
Yeah, there was an interview. Yeah, I did watch it. I watched the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Yes. You want to anything in particular you think jumps out?
I watched the whole thing, but no, not really, because most of it was what expected.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's kind of
Yeah.
It's pretty much more of the same, but the rest of 2021 just seems like it's the heavy hitters. It's Halo, it's Forza, it's Age of Empires, which is a Microsoft property.
I'm sorry, never heard of it. Is that
Age of Empires?
Is that turn-based strategy game you were telling me about?
I think it's Netflix owns it.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah.
There was a couple of things actually saying that. So Microsoft Flight Sim has missions now.
Yeah, Flight Sim.
Which I thought was quite interesting. And it kind of makes you go back and play it rather than just going to fly into your house.
I was going to say that they put some game in the game, which is actually...
Exactly.
When you say missions, do you mean as in the Discovery flights?
I believe so, because they've kind of added a whole bunch of stuff in Germany.
Yeah. I think
there was
they
a German
were there
guy
at
talking
launch,
a lot.
but I think they've just expanded it.
They've been tweaking them, yeah.
Well, yeah, because I think Germany's a bit of a weird one, right? Because in terms of... again, I might be completely wrong, and I'm talking on the internet, so I probably am. But I believe there was something around mapping housing in Germany that was causing them some issues originally.
Oh, was that the blurry kind of Google issues?
Yeah. They were saying essentially there was some privacy law or something along those lines that make it quite difficult to actually get maps of
So-
like digital maps of Germany. And
They've
that
just
sort of-
added a whole bunch of like all the cool castles and stuff they have there. That's what they've added.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they've gone through and added a bunch of stuff to basically get around that, rather than just having it be like, oh yeah, it's just Germany. It's like, well, actually, we need to sort out some stuff, so they're making a bit of a
So
bit.
make it worth it. And I think the guy was German who was doing the interview as well.
Makes sense, yeah.
So he was excited.
Well, excited Germans. That's an
He was
interesting
excited. No, he was very excited.
one. Oh, okay. Well, that's maybe he's from Austria.
Yeah, true, Swiss. Yeah.
Exactly. Anything else there? Anything else there?
They had in-flight sims as well. They had the real fast little planes as well, which was
Yep.
quite cool.
Yep.
No idea what they're going to do with those, but maybe racing or something, which would be quite cool.
That'd be pretty good. Actually.
Did they talk about
Yeah.
the Top Gun content?
They said we can't talk about it because the movie's not out yet.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
So
that
it's
makes-
basically the movie, I guess.
How
It's
long
kind of
is it
answers.
until?
Um,
That's interesting then. Whether they do something like Forza Horizon 2 Fast and Furious.
Oh,
Yeah.
a little kind of 1,000-pointer, nice and easy little add-on almost.
I could see that.
I
yeah.
mean, like that similar content, like
Yeah, that's
3
right.
or 4 hour story kind of thing.
Pretty-
Story mode in Flight Sim.
I mean, look.
I mean, that's the way to like. You think of Sea of Thieves?
I know,
It was the
yeah.
same thing with Disney and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the
so-
Caribbean, yeah, that's
But you actually like. I was going to make a joke, but you're actually kind of onto a winner there. I mean, that's what No Man's Sky did, right? They released a sim, quote unquote, and then they were like, oh, we better put some story in this.
right. Who owns Top Gun? Is Disney as well?
No, I don't think
I
so.
wanted to say Paramount, but I'm not.
Yeah, I
too
thought it'd be
sure.
Paramount, right? Top
Go
Gun.
on quickly
Oh.
Googles.
Fact checking.
Paramount does. Yeah,
Okay.
Paramount. Okay, so nothing
It
to do
seems
with
like a Paramount property.
Paramount does. Yeah, yeah, no, definitely.
because they're doing loads and loads of kind of things with Disney, aren't they? Microsoft currently. It seems
Yeah.
to be a thing they're doing.
Big collab, which there's.
Money.
So it's what I was gonna say. It's always good to see two of the biggest, massive
Exactly,
conglomerates
yeah.
working together for the betterment of humankind.
That's
Betterment.
right. What was another thing else I was going to say? Oh, Sea of Thieves has that quite cool thing, Borderlands set. If you play Sea of Thieves,
Mm-hmm.
and I've
Yep.
heard the mission is to blow things up. That's how you get
Oh.
the ship. So
Perfect, easy.
brilliant. Exactly.
Makes
Very
sense.
Borderlands of it.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very on brand.
People are very excited about Crusader Kings 3 as well.
Mhm. Yeah, that looks amazing. I mean, the Crusader King stuff is like that's like.
I
paradise,
hear
right?
good
So-
things. I got the.
Yep.
I dived it, and I was just like, it's okay.
It's the kind of thing. It's
Very
yeah,
intensive.
those games are the kind of thing where you dive into them and then you never dive out.
That's
basically.
right.
That's
Yeah.
From what I've heard of the people who play those games. They usually are also the kind of people who go to Ren fairs. So
I was really confused though. So you win the game by not necessarily killing everybody. I didn't really
no,
understand
exactly.
that.
Yeah, that's again. Apparently, total world domination is not always the goal, which
No,
always
just
confuses me
don't
too.
see the point.
Yeah, exactly.
and-
Apparently,
Yeah, and lots of Forza Horizon 5 at the end, which was very cool. They basically showed the open movie of Forza 4 where you go on the bike and race bikes and jump around. It's all that basically. They showed that, so
yeah,
quite,
that
quite
works.
pretty.
I can't wait. Like I'm
I know.
really tossing up whether that's my favorite for the year, but it's
We'll see.
pretty much up there. Yeah.
We'll see.
It will be. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. If I get 2 and 1 done by then, I'm just gonna. It's gonna absorb my soul.
Mm.
What do you think about the controller?
The Forza one,
Yeah. So
I think-
the yellow, the blue, and the pink.
I think it's fucking hideous. I think
So
it's
I think Carl's opinion was it's nothing to do with racing.
yeah,
What's it
exactly.
do with
Yeah,
Forza?
exactly. It's basically okay. So I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent because that's what the show is apparently.
It's the
So
internet.
when I was at uni, we did I was a mentor for a few semesters for a group project paper that was all about coming up with some sort of big marketing event or marketing strategy for a real life product. So we get like real businesses to come in and like pitch their product and say, hey, can you come up with a cool marketing idea? And then, if you won, then they'd bring you in and they'd, potentially develop it. And there's some job stuff on the line there and stuff as well. So Microsoft came in once and one of the groups that I was mentoring had the idea of doing some big like paint splotch thing where they were going to get a bunch of people dressed up in white shirts and have like the Microsoft colors thrown around each other. And it was for like a Microsoft phone or whatever. And I remember when they pitched it, someone once said it was one of the judges was like, okay, so is this an ad for the Microsoft phone or is this an ad for like Persil, which is the which is like,
You remember that YouTube video that's going around for ages? There's a song that came out, and literally the whole thing was them getting covered in paint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was
Right,
like that.
okay.
That was basically what it was. And that's kind of what I imagine with this. Is I'm like, they're like, oh, Forza, it's about cars, so
Make a splashy kind of
splashy colors. I guess I don't like. I mean, I guess like instead of like they can't put a Ferrari on the controller, or they definitely can't put a Porsche on the controller because then they have to take the controller back after a couple of years.
But there's like engine parts and gears. You could have like pretend gears on the inside and all this sort of stuff, couldn't you? Or make it more like a Gears of War sort of thing, like it's all kind of parts or something.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in. I pre-ordered the controller. I love the look of it.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
And also the fact it's Forza Horizon. Saying that, I don't agree that it looks ugly, but I do think there is better controllers out there that could be used for Forza Horizon.
I pre-ordered the blue one, the cool looking blue one.
I was going to say
pre-ordered.
that was for Forza Motorsport 6, yeah?
No, the one that's coming out in about a week or two.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you meant the Forza Motorsport 6 one. That came out originally. Back in 2014, 2015, they had 2 mock-ups on the Xbox UK page for Forza Horizon 2 and a Forza Motorsport 6 controller.
Right.
And they look amazing. I'll drop them in Discord later on. But if they recreated those controllers, there would be no questions. I would immediately buy them.
Yeah, I guess it's a hard one, right? Like it's there's the Porsche thing, and then it was like because to Lee's point around putting some gears on it or some
model it after the cover car.
Cover car, right? Maybe or something along those lines, right?
Big Mercedes button in the middle or something.
Well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
they did the Lamborghini for like the yellow bright Lamborghini for Forza Horizon 2. That's what they made into a giveaway controller.
Yeah, which I think makes sort of more sense because I think the thing with Horizon is because it's not the kind of people who buy Horizon aren't necessarily the kind of people who get fucking hard-ons for torque numbers and horsepower and all sort of stuff. Like they don't really care about.
It's arcadey, but it has that
exactly. It's got more sort of wider appeal. But the festival thing, like I get it, it's supposed to be a festival, but the whole thing that Forza Horizon like is a festival that travels around the world. Like it just reminds me of the Olympics where every city is like, fuck, please don't pick us, please don't pick us, please don't pick us. We don't want we don't want 20,000 people crashing the cars around a nice around
serene roads.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a beautiful day in Mexico. The sun's shining, and you just some guy in a fucking Mini Cooper just drifting around
sideways.
A corner, exactly sideways. Smashing through your fruit stall that you've set up or whatever, and just completely destroying all the ambiance. And then of course the guy gets out of the car and then starts flossing because they do that now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's just I mean, I'm sure it'll be a great game, but I just think the controller just looks like ass. But then I'm colorblind anyway, so
as am I. So yeah, so I went for a blue one. I went for a blue one because I can see blue, so
blue works. Yeah,
perfect.
Absolutely.
Speaking of controllers,
yes,
Halo Elite.
Oh yeah, that's that mythical one that they
it doesn't really exist in this country. Yeah.
Pretty sure they had some concept art, and pretty much everyone bought that, right?
I was going to say New Zealand didn't get.
No, we didn't fucking get any of them.
There's still orders available in Australia, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, fuck's sake.
But
no,
I really like the look of it, but like, why the fuck do it for an Elite? Why can't you just do it as standard?
Yeah, I mean, I guess because they want to push the Elites.
Where's the Elite 3? That's the question, really. Well, who's going to buy a year and a half old technology controller? It's ridiculous.
I think but it has a cool skin.
Buy some stickers.
I was going to say, it's got a new hat. Yeah, exactly. I guess the thing with it is that, like, with the Elite 3, because have they announced the Elite 3 or they're
nothing. Very quiet.
Right? And I think maybe that's the play, right? As they said, well, we're going to have to cut some things for this year, and the Elite, we've had enough problems with the Elite 1 and 2 build quality, so maybe we don't move straight onto an Elite 3 and we just kind of quietly just leave that for next year.
But so they have problems. But I have original Xbox controllers which still go now. They're fine.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
why the Elite has issues is weird.
I have no idea. I mean, I guess there's the whole thing. More moving parts means it's more things that can go wrong, right? Yeah. But
have you played with both controllers?
I have not.
Okay, I have both the series controller. I've had every controller. Yeah.
Of course you do. I'm surprised you don't have them on a wall up behind you. You need to add that in.
I've actually got a box behind the monitor now where all my controllers sit on the new desk.
Of course you do.
But like just comparing them, Xbox One felt great, upgrading from 360. Elite felt great. Ever since I've had the series, I haven't gone back to the Elite. The Elite feels too heavy. It's the weight aspect to it to me. Why would I play like 8 hours a day on a heavy controller?
Well, I mean, maybe you should be playing less games, mate. You just need to, you have a good work-life balance.
Get stronger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have
That's rich coming from you.
I know that's the joke. Yes, is the fact that I never leave my house. All right,
Cool.
Christ.
But yeah, pretty much I put out a poll on our Twitter today. And I think it was like 60% went for the Elite, 35%. It was like everybody would prefer the Elite. Yeah, but I just don't. I don't see spending $250 for it. Like
we've started talking about all the accessories that are popping up. There's a bunch of people making Xbox controllers slightly cheaper than the Elite, but kind of well made, and all the different buttons and like the extra macro buttons and that sort of stuff in it.
Yeah, it's the market, right? Because the Elites are just too expensive. Like they're massively overpriced. I mean, like they're a cool product, but the thing is, with the build quality issues and the price they're asking for. I mean, you're like, whenever it's like, it's coming around to my birthday or Christmas, and people ask about present ideas, and I'm like, I'm always impossible to buy for.
$280 for a controller. It's insane.
Yeah, it's like I'm always like, man, I could ask for that, but that's almost like I need to
kidneys and stuff.
Just get a fridge. Just get a fridge.
Exactly. Yeah, just get the Xbox fridge. That's a really good shout.
For your one can of drink that you can fit in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that was the one thing I was surprised. I was sure we were going to get a release date.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess now is probably not the time to be announcing big manufacturing production release dates.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, they could barely keep Halo on schedule, and that's a digital game.
All right, we'll quickly go from the controller because I think it was setting up about the Elite.
Yeah.
Limited edition Halo console.
Looks fine.
Yep.
It's it's not the best looking one I've seen, but
it reminds me too much of Halo 5. In terms of the Xbox One console.
But don't you think it's pointless because no one can buy them? It's just a completely pointless exercise bringing them out because no one can buy them other than eBay people, obviously.
Yeah, but they make
scalpers that make thousands.
Yeah, so what's the point? They're more sure they should wait until the line's completely full. There's loads of them out there, so then they bring them out. It's actually bought people that can want them rather than scalpers.
Yeah, but I guess, at the end of the day, if a scalper buys them or a fan buys them, Microsoft still gets their cut, right? They don't really care.
Oh, sure. Well, they should care, though, shouldn't they? Because they must get a load of pushback about it.
100%.
That's the other thing, too. They put a system into place to manage the tickets for these people ordering. Like,
that works really well.
That worked really well. Why hasn't this carried over to the limited edition console? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, it seems like a massive oversight.
And
like they knew this was going to happen, right?
I think at the same time too. Like, if you've already got an Xbox, if you already got a Series X or a Series S at this point, I don't really think you need the limited edition console, unless you're absolute die.
But if they were available, I'd sell mine to get it.
Oh yeah, trade in, different story. But
yeah.
Like, I was looking at eBay's prices in Australia for it, and I think it was like $400 plus trade in the Series X. And I'm like, I'm still losing $300 on that transaction. Yeah,
that's a lot. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not that great a deal.
And I'm pretty sure the Elite's trade in was $150.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you only get $100 back for a Series 2.
Wow, that's that's not. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So the year they were doing great in terms of trading and getting people to get rid of their old hardware, but now it's just gone back to shit.
Well, I guess the thing is that there's a global shortage of consoles going around, and GameStop and EB Games, exactly. They sort of found their niche around trying to get themselves back in business because
make some money.
Because they've been having a rough few years. Well, they've had a rough lot of years actually, and the consoles were really that last gasp of them trying to stay in business. And looks like with the global shortages, worked quite well for them. Having said that, actually I was thinking just when I bought the Xbox One originally, I got the Halo 5 edition, and that was the thing that got me over the line because it came out for a good price, looked cool, had the sound effects and all that sort of stuff. But I just went to a store and picked one up. Like it was like they had heaps of them. Yeah. So the fact, and like I get it, like they can't do they can't release Halo 5 in December. Halo 6 in December. And then go, a year later, oh, hey, here's the limited edition console with the game, guys. Like when, once production's ramped back up and they've got heaps of them, they have to do the limited edition with the game when it comes out. So really they should have just delayed the game.
I just don't think the console screamed Halo at all.
No, not really, to be honest.
So shouldn't they just push the whole thing back?
Yeah, I mean,
because the game's not coming out finished, so why not bring out the game in 6 months when there's more production?
Exactly, which I think brings us tidily on to our next story.
Yes.
Of fucking this. Okay. I've seen
two minds about it.
I'm of one mind about this actually. To be honest, I've seen a lot of hot takes on this around. Okay, so for those who don't know, they've announced the Halo release date. It's going to be December 8th. It leaked, but they've announced it now officially. Which everyone was going, it's a bit iffy that they haven't released a date and they just said holiday. So now there's a date out there for it. It's basically the last possible date that they can get away with, because anything after December 10 basically falls into a black hole and never doesn't make any sales. You'll basically see that because
they're missing
Black Friday.
Black Friday.
Yeah, which is pretty. So clearly this is. I think this game's going to come in pretty hot, right? Like this is going to be. It's going to be pretty tight in terms of because they're still working on it, right? There's still a lot going on.
They missed out on their anniversary.
Yep, missed the anniversary. I'm surprised that if it was going to be any later than December 9th or December 8th, I would say that they probably would have pushed it to February at this rate. But they're committing to 8. But they also come out and said that apparently it's not going to have Forge mode on release, and it's also not going to have co-op for the campaign until 3 months later.
Until season 2 is what they said. So you kind of work out the seasons out of it.
Roughly. So it's about 3 month season or roughly somewhere in between.
There's a few things to take away from it too.
Sure.
First thing is what they're the only game they're really clashing with is Dying Light 2 on the 7th, I believe.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You've got Battlefields in November.
No, is it? Yeah, one's October, one's November, and one's in December, isn't it? The Battlefield.
I was going to say COD's usually October.
Yeah, that's right.
Battlefield will be November.
The COD released that last week, was it? They said it was coming out.
So, they finally announced it, which is very late from them. But I mean,
I don't really want to talk about it much, but they left the publishing's logo off the trailer.
Oh, did they? Okay,
that's a story.
Yeah, we won't get into it, but yeah.
Pretty much though. I feel like it's a misstep with the 20th anniversary, but at the same time. I mean, I can understand Microsoft doesn't want to step on Battlefield's toes as well if they're.
Sure, I mean they're already and they know that there's going to be quite a bit of overlap, and there's no point in releasing those at the same time. It would be like putting Titanfall 2 in the middle of those, right?
But the multiplayer is free.
True. So
wouldn't that be interesting to throw it against COD and say, hey, we're free. You can go spend, God knows how much it'll be in this country, but $60-$70 in Australia, US. And this is free. You can just jump in and play it. And
I would agree if Warzone didn't exist. And I think that's the big problem, right? Is that because Call of Duty have got on the Warzone Battle Royale free bandwagon already, they've got that feather in their cap to say, yeah, absolutely, get the new campaign and the new multiplayer and zombies or whatever. But if you don't want to do that, we've got something for you already that you could just jump onto and play right now. Don't worry about even thinking about another game. Also, it's multi-platform, so you can and it's has cross-play and it has all this community stuff. It's a hard sell,
and you can easily just add content. Like they could do a new map right before Halo launches and be like,
yeah. Well, that's kind of what they're doing, right? Was that when Black Ops Cold War came out, they were like, yeah, no, Warzone's staying the same, but we're just going to add some new
stuff to it, and they did as well. Didn't they add more guns to it and stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah, and so they'll probably do the same with this.
So, what's the Halo multiplayer scene like?
So I mean, they did that was a flight test a couple weeks ago. And
what did you think? Did you play?
I didn't get in, unfortunately.
I forgot to activate my email.
Of course you fucking did.
Awesome. I got in and it was fine, but it wasn't anything special. I wasn't blown away by it at all.
Yeah, I think for us achievement hunters, it'll be pretty much a case of, it will depend on how it launches and what kind of achievements it has. But if it's something like a Crackdown situation, we'll probably just slog through and then get the completion and move on with our lives.
Crackdown was shocking though.
Oh yeah, but he's talking about in terms of with having multiplayer completely separate from the single player.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
but you're
right.
In
terms of quality, but in terms of if it's an easy list like that we can easily 10, 20 hours, knock it out, move on.
Yeah, that kind of makes it, and they've said that it's going to be completely separate, right? Or it's going to probably almost certainly have a separate list. So that's going to come out, and then they're going to release the campaign, but it's not going to have the co-op, which we were talking about earlier. Co-op is such an integral part of the Halo experience, and I know I've seen people on all kinds of takes with it being like, hey, I mean, look, don't harass 343 and send death threats and stuff. I mean, that goes without saying, but unfortunately, I do need to say it. But there are a lot of people defending them, saying, "Oh, they're working really hard on this game, etc., etc." And like, hey, totally fair, absolutely, they shouldn't have to go through crunch. But the choice to release that game is not on them; it's on the managers and on Microsoft. And they have said it has to be out for holiday. It's not ready for holiday. If it's missing, like Forge mode is what gives Halo its longevity. Now I can understand it being a little.
Yeah, I can understand that not being there because they might go, let's release it and make sure the bugs are out, and then we do Forge mode rather than building lots of really bad maps and bad items and stuff and having lots of issues. That makes sense.
I can totally get that, right? And say that, hey, hey, we've had our initial sales. Multiplayer is good, but it's dropping off, mate. Or we've got the initial people in here. Let's try and keep them in here with a new update with Forge or something along those lines that keep people interested, which is fine. And I get that.
See, I'm in two minds about it because Halo 5 didn't release with Forge at the start.
No, exactly.
And that's what caused so many issues for them. But then at the same time, I kind of give them a pass knowing that this Forge is being made to last for the next 10 years. This is meant to be the level editor. This is meant to be the end all.
Yeah, but the thing is that I don't trust any company that says that they've got a 10-year plan. And that included Bungie when they came out with
Destiny.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, right? Yep. Destiny, where they were like, oh, this is just Destiny. This is just what it's going to be. We've got a 10-year plan. And then suddenly, oh, no, Destiny 2, completely different game. You need to go out and buy it. And well, what happened to the 10-year plan? And it's like, oh, well, it's going to be continued in this now.
It's money. It's money.
Right. And the thing is, how fast the gaming industry changes, I can't trust any company to say, oh, yeah, 10 years, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're not going to, this is the bedrock. And it's like, well, they said, oh, we're not doing a battle royale. Apparently they are doing a battle royale.
Yeah, they are. That's right. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Okay.
But that wasn't the focus of the multiplayer. The multiplayer is supposed to be more big team battle, trying to get traditional players back into it, which makes sense. And from all accounts, apparently the multiplayer has got a good mix of the improvements that they had in 5, but with a lot of the core stuff that people loved about 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Not so much 4, but so from a multiplayer front, I think it's great. I think from a single player front, I'm very interested to see what it's like.
Did
co-op? Yeah.
Did you see the Reddit post of them?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, quickly going into the Reddit post, them talking about the co-op campaign not being ready for launch. Essentially, because the aim of the game is to make it much more open world, like a Just Cause. I think it was Just Cause Far Cry with the comparisons.
Basically yes.
But I mean, if player 1's going off in this direction, player 2's going off in that direction, how do your checkpoints work? How does your spawning work?
Well, is it like Gears? Is that what they're going to do? Like a Gears 5 open world?
Gears feels much more linear than what they're trying to set out to do.
Yeah, I mean, this again, we haven't seen the game, right? So we don't know. But from what we know, apparently it's going to be more on the Far Cry side. Yeah. Kind of like how Gears 5 has those open areas where you can get a bit more freeform, and it widens and then it narrows and it widens and narrows. And I'm thinking that seems to be the direction they're going. We don't know for sure. From the pull out of the mini map and you see outposts and things like that. So
what did you think of Gears 5 then?
I haven't played it because of its list. But okay, that's not true. I haven't played it on my tag, I should say, and I have not played much of it.
Yeah.
But it controls well. I like the idea, but I didn't finish it.
It's not that good. It's not Gears. That's the problem.
Right. Exactly. It doesn't have the same feel.
The first episode of Gears is amazing because it feels like Gears. Run into area, behind a wall, shoot stuff, keep going. Great. And then the second area, episode, what they call it, wasn't Gears. It was something else. It was something completely different. Yeah. It didn't feel right.
And I understand why, right? You can't, you get into the 5th, the 6th, the 7th game in a franchise, you need to change things up a little bit. To appeal to, basically so it doesn't
bigger
feel
audience,
get to a bigger audience, get new audience, all that sort of stuff. Make sure get people interested who have fallen off. But it's so easy to make a misstep, right? It's just Zach in the chat points out that Anthem also had a 10-year roadmap.
Yes, it did, and I bought into it. I got it pre-ordered that game.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I don't want to harp on it too much because we don't really know about the game too much. It's just really disappointing. I just think that it really they should have just pushed it.
They should push it. Yeah.
They should basically say, hey, look, if the co-op and the Forge is not ready, and from all accounts, apparently the game is barely going to be ready by December
So
8th.
why not do it for a year? Push it for a year. Do it in 21st.
I feel
21st
bad about
birthday.
that though. Like if it's ready for the solo players, like if there is a solo campaign that can go out, I don't think people should wait longer.
Yeah, I mean,
because we've got to think of it this way: it's multiple parts of, like, they're multiple games in a way. Yeah.
I guess, I mean, look, if you release the multiplayer this year and the single player and the single player content and expand it and do it a year later or whenever later, that would make perfect sense to me, especially considering all the stuff is coming to Game Pass. You don't have to go and stand in line for a midnight launch like you did for Halo 3, right?
Yeah.
You literally just preload it on your Xbox. Midnight rolls around, you start the game up.
And the servers handle it,
hopefully, right? And that's the thing, is that it's like, well, put the multiplayer out and then put the single player out later when it's done.
See, that would make more sense. Do more because it's free anyway, the multiplayer.
Exactly.
So say, here, it's free. Go play it.
Yeah,
and then fix it in the background.
And it's not like the part of the thing is people saying, well, Microsoft needs to have a big hitter. Like Halo, and we've talked about this before, Halo can't afford to not hit, right? It needs to be a big one for them because they haven't had the killer app for the series out yet. And Halo has been in a pretty rough spot. Like 5 didn't hit well. 4 was shaky. Like the last good one they had was Reach, really. So like they really need to have a big game on their hands for this. And the fact that they're rushing it, and like they took this year to remake it because of the whole fucking Craig thing. Yeah. But like
I worry it's Cyberpunk. That's what I worry. It'll just be another Cyberpunk.
Exactly. That's exactly what I.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Cyberpunk was meant to have multiplayer as well too.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But it's like while CD Projekt Red, they had The Witcher and that's still successful for them and they'll still do whatever they want. Like Microsoft can't really afford to have their biggest IP or their sort of mascot IP go 0 for 3. Like I just don't like it's not good for.
So I disagree a little bit. I think problem with Gears 4. Actually, Gears 4 is really good. I disagree with you completely on that. I really enjoyed Gears 4.
Sure.
But Gears 5 wasn't a Halo game. Oh, sorry, Halo 4 was awesome. I really enjoyed it. OTSD was out as well, and that was really cool.
Oh yeah, ODC is fantastic. Yes.
Yeah. So they've had some good ones. It's just 5 wasn't Halo.
Yeah.
And they need to not do that again. They need to make a Halo game. Yeah, not make a game that they think is I don't know what they're trying to do. I think they were trying to mix ODST and Halo together. I think that was their problem.
Yeah.
They should have just done them because they're not the same game. They're different games.
I think the last question I want to ask: what is Halo to you? Is it more the multiplayer, or is it more the campaign?
Campaign. 100% the campaign.
I've never played the multiplayer. Until I played the beta.
Yeah. Because I'm still sure there's people out there that they just think of Halo as the multiplayer.
Oh, 100%. And like I like Halo was like one of the few multiplayer games that I put enough, like Halo 3 and Reach in particular, one of the few games I put in to be actually somewhat competitive. And like competitive on my scale is fucking terrible still. But like I played, again,
not last.
Exactly. Exactly. I get the achievements get out for most stuff, but I actually enjoyed Halo enough that I was sitting middle to top of the pack most games. And so, like, I really enjoyed the multiplayer, but that's not what I come to. It's not what I come to any game for, to be fair. But Halo is the one thing where I'm like, oh, I'll definitely put more time into the multiplayer than I would for, I don't even like Battlefield Battlefield's not even going to have a campaign this time, or Call of Duty, for example.
I'm just gonna call out Kyle too. Halo 2 was only the weakest because of that bloody legendary Iron Skull.
Halo 2 is definitely the weakest. 100%.
No, very much so. No, it's terrible. I got bored. I got so bored in that.
I was telling Steven, I think I would actually enjoy Halo 2 if that legendary skull wasn't there.
I played the game on easy back when it came out, and I was massively disappointed considering how good Halo 1 is. Anyway, I don't want to get into the ranking debate.
I played them all this year so I'll be ready for number 6, Infinity, whenever it comes out.
Yeah.
And I was like, out of all of them, number 2 is the worst.
100%.
I'm gonna call out Steven if he's still here, because we have this discussion like every Monday. as long as you all agree that as long as the very best one is between Free, ODST, or Reach, you're safe.
Mm-hmm. I would say.
I would say Reach is probably the best for Halo games wise.
In terms of actually, I think
for actual Halo game.
I love 3 though. I have a
Free's my favorite.
Free's fun. Free's fun more than anything else because you run around in lots of vehicles. I think that was quite a good idea. Yeah.
Whereas Reach is a bit more of a container.
The awesome story. Reach has got the awesome story.
Oh yeah,
Reach is best. There we go.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah,
ODST. I love the music and love all the playing ODST.
Yeah, it's a whole noir
I love the
stuff
atmosphere in that
that's-
game. It's such a good atmosphere.
You play enough Mondays with Steven, it's just like, fuck Halo CE. I fucking hate this game. Worst game ever. Why they had to make this piece of crap? I'm just like, this is the title that got you all these other great games.
Yeah, Halo CE.
Minus Halo 2.
I've gone through that game so many times from beginning to end. Just such a good game.
Yeah.
It's like the Halo level, the more... sorry, what's the very first level? Pillar of Autumn.
Bill of Autumn, yeah.
Yeah, Pillar of Autumn, the more... And Halo, amazing levels. Everything between that is just like...
The problem with Halo CE is you get lost. That's the only problem.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the thing. I mean, like, I love Truth and Reconciliation, where you land on the beach and you go into...
Yes, you're running through and blowing... And then all this there's one with the snow in the tanks. That's quite good fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 betrayals, yeah. Anyway, rather than just your fanboying off it too much, what else have we got?
Let's talk about Saints Row.
I want to bitch about Saints Row. Okay. I'm going to choose my words very carefully here, but
Deep breath.
that game does not look good.
Oh, no.
I'm a huge fan of the Saints Row franchise. Not that all of them have been good, but I remember when 1 came out and I played it because it was GTA before GTA 4 came out, so it was the only Grand Theft Auto style open world game on the 360. It was ropey as hell, controlled like shit, but it also had a great sense of humor. Like the whole thing was, it was so ridiculously over the top. You know, like to get away from the cops, you go through a drive-through confessional. You would pour a 40 on your homies to bring them back to life. Like it didn't take itself seriously at all. And then 2 just took that and ran with it all like to the extreme, where it was like, okay, now you have these mini games where you, well, nowadays it's a little problematic, but you would dress up as a cop and go and on like a cops TV show called Fuzz, and you would go around and like just beat the shit out of protesters and just cause havoc to basically do. Yeah. Anyway,
That's awesome. Number 3 was I played 3 to death. That's what I played.
And so there were like 3, and so 3 was like kind of had a bit more of a balance where it was like kind of more ridiculous. Like it went so crazy that it was like, okay, now you got like dildo bats and
the big purple dildo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you've got like the VTOL that goes around like laser beaming things, and you got the thing where you got the tiger in the car that you need to drive. Like it just like completely.
It was awesome.
went.
I had the jet plane as well, which was quite nice to jump around.
It's such a great game. And then 4 was like, cool. We're just gonna turn into the Matrix.
Aliens.
Yeah, aliens, bruh. I was like, cool. I was totally for it. I was like, I don't give a shit. They've proven that they can do whatever the fuck they want and it works. The get out of hell stuff was kind of
4 has probably the best opening of any video game I've ever played.
Oh yeah, 4, yeah, exactly, yeah. And to be fair, 4 did so many things right, and I know it's a big departure because they essentially turned it into Crackdown 3. Yeah. Where it was like you got superpowers.
What Crackdown 3 should have been.
Should have been, right? Yeah. And they were like, yeah, but the fact that you become the president of the United States in the first 5 minutes of that game, and the tagline for the game was "From the crack house to the White House," and I was just that's always stuck with me as like
perfect.
That's amazing summary of how.
Do you think the guy wrote on the whiteboard and just walked out?
Yeah, he was like, cool.
I'm done. I'm out.
I'll take my $1 million bonus on the way out, mate. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, talking about $1 million bonuses, the collector's edition.
Yeah, that's right. They did do it. Their collector's edition for $1 million. Yeah, and it was like got like plastic surgery included and all that kind of shit.
Oh god,
amazing.
And so the Saints Row franchise has always been about like taking the
piss.
Basically taking the piss, exactly. Of like GTA was always kind of trying to be a little bit more clever, like a little bit. Like again, not all of it, but it was trying to be a little bit more subtle or a little bit more, like a bit more like ripped from the headlines. Whereas Saints Row was like, nah, bro, we're just gonna do whatever we want. We'll just, we've licensed all this music. We've got, I don't want to miss a thing. While you're trying to, Aerosmith playing in the background while you're trying to disable the nuke, and then you've got the touch while you're flying through the. And anyway, it's just amazing. And now they've gone like, okay, well, we want to bring it back to basics, which makes sense because like, where do you go from aliens destroying the Earth? Well, actually, I know where you go because the end of that game involves you discovering a fucking time machine.
Yeah, exactly. Go back in time.
It's Saints through time, and you realize that Jane Austen is the one who's been narrating the entire game. Anyway, Saints Row 4 is so fucking good. It's so good.
I need to play this game. I think I haven't played it. That's awesome.
You need to do it. It's so good. But so they brought it back to basics. They're like, okay, it's like now you're Gen Z hipsters who are a part of a startup, but like your startup is a criminal enterprise. And they've all look, I don't want to be too judgy, but they've all fucking got Gen Z haircuts, and one of them wears a fucking bow tie, unironically. And like, I'm like, oh, okay.
And Matt's just like, why didn't I think of that?
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
He's got a bow tie under his hoodie. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, always. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, sweetheart, for this hoodie. Got this hoodie for my anniversary. So it looks like they're trying to do a Watch Dogs 2, which, fair play to them. Watch Dogs 2 is an amazing game. I think it improved on had a really good tone and balance between like the fun, nerdy, weird shit with the like serious, like bring down the system corporate stuff, along with like the weird spy stuff. And I'm hoping that this game is kind of like that, because like I wasn't a fan of Watch Dogs Legion. But it kind of looks like they're trying to do a little bit of a quirky thing, but like the last game, yeah.
So do you think they're taking the piss though?
I don't know. I don't.
Do you think
so.
maybe they're not actually going to do this? They're just taking the piss out of current stuff, and then go, actually, this is what's happening, and then
I hope so. I really hope so, because that would be perfectly on brand. Like that would be amazing. Because like it really feels like it's just kind of, they just went with, okay, what it's basically like that. It's like that fucking meme with the hey fucking fellow kids, like coming in with the Steve Buscemi coming in with the fucking 2 skateboards, you know, being like, oh, what are the kids like these days? Okay, it's like, well, you like the haircuts with the side shaved off. We want to make sure that we've got a lot of good, diversity and representation on the game, which is good. Stand-up
desks, sweet counters.
Exactly. Yeah, we stand-up meetings. Also, people are going to say things are bussing. It's just going to be. And look, I'm 29. Okay, like I'm outside the Gen Z demographic. I get it, but fuck me, does it just annoy the shit out of me? Like this, like I'm too young. I'm too young to be this jaded about this shit. How did this happen?
I think it's Microsoft. I blame Microsoft.
Yeah, it must be. It's got to be. It's got to be, right? But again, we don't know anything about the game, but just from the look of it and the tone, I'm really fucking worried about it, because if it goes down the Agents of Mayhem route, which was the last game they released, that's in the Saints Row universe but wasn't Saints Row, that game was a rough one.
Did you see it as the main guy in it still in this latest one?
No. So it's like
so that's interesting. Okay.
Well, it's like apparently it's all changing. So like there's no Johnny Gat. Like they probably will have cameos from the other characters, I would assume, because they can't let them go, which is fine, because this gives people a reason. But in all fairness, it's been a long time since there's been a Saints Row game, right? Like the last one was Get Out of Hell, and that came out on
it came out 2014?
Yeah, because it came out on the 360 and
the 360, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was 360 and the Xbox One. It was one of those cross-gen games. So they haven't had
that. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, they haven't had a Saints Row game, in a long, long time. 8 or so years.
Is it still the same developers and team and all that?
Volition. I mean, it's still Volition who are doing it. Sorry.
Jan 2015.
2015.
Okay.
Okay, sounds close.
So it's still Volition making it. I mean, the thing with teams is like people, it's been people change. Like it's been 8 years. I'm sure half of the people aren't the same people. And I'll definitely give it a shot, because like I like the Saints Row stuff. I'm just worried that the tone is going to be a little bit. It's going to be a little bit too Agents of Mayhem meets.
PC, bit too PC.
Maybe, yeah, maybe a little bit, like, or at least like the dog, like the kind of the humor and the comedy stuff is going to be not for me. Which is, hey, and like we talked about last week, where it's like not every game needs to be for every person. That's totally fair. And those old, just because this new game comes out doesn't mean that the old games don't exist and I can't go back to them and enjoy them still. But I'm just be interested to see how it sells and how it's received is actually more of a curiosity.
Weren't they doing a remaster of?
They were talking about doing a remaster of like a 1 and 2.
3 is out, isn't it?
Yeah, they did a remaster.
You get it on Epic
3.
now, can't you? Epic, it's free on Epic Store this week.
Yeah,
today.
So there was talk about them doing a redo of 1 and 2, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. The guy who was doing he was doing like a rework of it through a mod pack for the PC version of Saints Row 2. He actually just passed away, unfortunately. Like yesterday. Saints Row news is kind of all over the place this week, but yeah, so I mean, again, I'll see what it looks like. Like I'm curious, because again, these are all just trailers and teasers.
Yeah, when's the release date ish?
Was it next year? I think it was
early 22 or something. Was it?
Yeah, 22. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, excuse me. I have to edit that out. Yeah, so I'll be interested to see what they come up with, because they've had a lot of time to work on it, but. It's definitely going to be a wait for review, wait for it to be in Game Pass kind of game for me, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
I'm quickly just going to go for the rest of the stuff. Gunk finally has a release date. It is confirmed for December, but we don't know whether that's start, and I imagine it would be around.
It'd be
The
early
game's
December.
been ready to come for ages, hasn't it?
Yeah. I think they've just been waiting on a good date to put it out, which looks really cool.
It does look fun. Yeah,
I like the SteamWorld. The guys there, they do a lot of great games, so the Gunk looks fantastic.
Yep.
Definitely going to check that as well.
And day one Game Pass isn't day one.
Yeah.
Day one Game Pass.
God, the end of this year is so back. Like,
Yeah, we're going to be very busy.
So much trouble. Forza.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
all right, cool. You're throwing Halo at me. You're throwing Forza. You're throwing Age of Empires. That's my life gone.
Well, just don't play Halo, mate. Just wait for the co-op. We'll play it together.
I'll probably wait. We'll quickly talk about Destiny 2 getting crossplay. Mm-hmm. We had an article, but I'm not really going to go into it. I mean, if you got friends on other consoles and that, you can play crossplay now. I think.
Is it hard? Is it difficult to do?
I think it's like you got a limit of up to 200 friends, and you do it through your Bungie account. I need to look into it.
Okay.
I imagine most of those crossplay things, it's through the account tied to.
Yeah, that's kind of how they match it up. Yeah. Makes sense.
And then the last article we had was we called it about the Humble games coming to Game Pass. We don't know how long ago it is.
It was a long time ago back on RGS. Yeah.
That it would eventually happen, and we would love to see the bundles. Saying that, next best thing, we get a whole bunch of games that are in Game Pass. Quickly going through it, the one that's already on there is Dodgeball Academia.
Mm-hmm.
Is that any good? I went through the list and wasn't that impressed with it. There was nothing really jumping out.
I think somebody today told me it was like a RPG meets Dodgeball.
Yeah,
it looks like a mobile game to me from the video I've seen.
It had a bit of a Pokemon feel to it, apparently. So I've been thinking about it. It's on Game Pass, so I was going to play it. It's got a relatively easy list as well. And I think it has accessibility options as well. So
that's good. Like accessibility to make it easier?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know much about it. I'm still looking into it.
I'll quickly go through the other 9. So Archvale, embark on a journey to find the ruins of a long-believed mythic arch in this colourful hybrid between classic RPGs and bullet hells. You'll be pushed to your limits in every filled biomes, and only through mastery of skills and weapons you will succeed. Bushiden, your sister has vanished, and the rumours swirl that...
It's a classic beat-em-up, that one is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where side-scrolling beat-em-up type.
So cybernetic upgrades, futuristic action platformer. Chinatown Detective Agency.
Point and click. Yeah.
Great. Love it.
Flynn, Son of Crimson. It doesn't really... Flynn.
No, I can't remember that one.
You go on a journey discovering conflict as you learn to master the power of Crimson manage you.
All right, that's descriptive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Midnight Fly Express, fight your way through the city in a brutal romp that mixes old school brawlers.
Oh, this is a twin stick shooter.
Sweet.
Yep.
Next Space Rebels.
You make handmade robot rockets.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, could be quite cool.
Signalis.
No, I don't remember that one. Some of these weren't that great. I kind of just blanked.
Classic survival horror experience with unique aesthetic.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that one. Yeah.
Unpacking, which was...
click. It's like a mobile game where you click on stuff.
Yeah.
We saw that at PAX in 2019.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It looked pretty good back then, so
It's a very sort of chill, just kind of you know.
Relaxing kind of game. And Unsighted, after a long war of humans, the few androids that remain in Arcadia are running out of anima, the energy that gives all robots consciousness. It's up to you to find a way to recover your memories and save your friends from becoming unsighted.
Okay, so Nier Automata, cool.
Yeah. The only other thing I wanted to quickly touch on too is Into the Pit. Looks like a Doom roguelite.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, is that the one that looks like Heretic from back in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks cool colours.
Yeah, the only reason it caught my attention is it comes out on my birthday and hits Game Pass.
Oh, sweet.
So
happy birthday.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out on October 19th.
It does look fun. Just think Heretic. And then it kind of things out of your hand shooting. All you see is 2 hand shooting stuff.
Heretic's great.
Yeah. Classic. Mist is coming out as well.
And Mist came out yesterday,
Yeah. Well, Mist looks cool.
Seeing 6 people have already completed it, I'm just going to wait for some guides because I have never played it before.
You're going to need them.
Oh, really?
There is a I've looked at the achievement list because I was like, oh, I finished my games for this week, so I was thinking about maybe just jumping onto that, and it was like, yeah, okay, one of the achievements says get the good ending in 2 minutes, so you need to speed run.
Wow. Okay.
Which you can do, you know, like it's not impossible, but you need to do it on PC basically because you need to know all the answers to the
and be able to press keys quickly and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't just turn around and walk backwards and get on the boat and you finish or something.
No. I think you need to get the good book.
It's plenty of time though. I imagine when I can remember when I was in the party of AHA, I think it was Martel said the speed run was like 57 seconds. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, the speed run was about 57 seconds. Yeah, so you have double the time.
Loads of time. You must take your time, just chill out.
But saying that, I think we should probably get into games we've been playing.
Yep. Absolutely. Cameron, you want to go first?
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Look, move this week. As you can see, my mess behind me. Lovely. I've got some drum kits. Yeah. Cool. Whatever. Splitgate. Cool. Great game. Halo. Portal.
Is it that good? Is it? Because I've seen lots of people playing it. It's doing well on the charts. So
it is really enjoyable.
And it's easy. It kind of feels good. Like when you're playing it, it feels about right. And
yeah, it feels like the right mix between Halo and Portal. Like it feels like a proper FPS.
Nice.
Like a lot better than what you would expect from free to play.
Is it a good practice for Halo that's coming out?
I would say so, but then I mean, like you're gonna play Halo then, and you're gonna be like, I can't shoot behind this guy.
Yeah, exactly. I can't just sit here and wait for him to run past the portal and I peg him in the head. Yeah.
I just it's neat though because you can do so many trick shots by throwing a portal behind somebody. So cool. I've quite liked it. Achievement list is quite easy except for the 1,000. Sorry, I shouldn't say easy. It's decent except for the 1,047 games won. But I think there is 2 people that have done it now, which is
it's just a bit of a grind.
Like they've done 200 hours. It's crazy. Quake still getting like 6,000, 7,000 TA on true achievements. Console commands hour and a half. I've got like 300 game score to do. But
one of them was like 700 TA because it was on Nightmare without taking shots or something.
Yeah. So you finish one of the levels of Nightmare without taking damage. You just put God mode on.
God mode and
But the thing is that because it's a shared list between the PC and the Xbox, people on the Xbox can't do it with the because console commands are only for the PC.
No.
So people are very, very upset about it. If you read the guides and the comments on those guides, it's a lot of like, fuck you. It's like, fuck you, how dare you console command your way through this game? Back in my day, I had to go to school.
Shoot stuff.
Yeah. I had to go. Yeah, I had to shoot my way through hell's all these. What is it? Cthulhu.
Well, I did it legit. You guys should all get the achievement removed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So did a bit of Quake. I gotta finish it off. There's not much to do.
Are you actually playing it? You're just God moding it.
I'm just God moding it. I had like half an hour spare the other day. I'm just like, how much can I get done? And got like 700 gamer score from it. So I've been packing most of the week. Age of Empires 2, I started the new DLC Dawn of the Dukes. Haven't really played through many of the campaigns. I was just cleaning up the easy achievements. The only game that I've really played this week has been 12 minutes.
What do you think?
What do you think of the end?
I was having a discussion with Matt earlier. Story-wise, no. Total misfire. I don't know. Like,
That's what I've heard, yeah.
I'm not going to give spoilers.
Sure.
Yep.
The story is the game, so yeah.
It sucks though because I think like the gameplay aspect of it, like I was telling Matt earlier about this. I've been playing with Nikita all week, and collectively we've been making decisions, doing problem solving together, and playing it as a couple.
Yeah.
And like now that we've done that, I actually want to find more games similar to this, point and click adventures where we can actually problem solve together, because I think it's a really good bonding exercises in terms of relationships go. Gameplay I can't fault. It's a small enclosed. Look, yes and no. I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Gameplay I can't fault with what the intention was.
Sure. I mean, the motif of the game is that it works like a clock, right? It's every little bit has its bit that connects, and it all sort of works in a sort of repeating structure. And then so the whole point of the game is so for those who don't know, we should probably want to introduce the game a little bit. Is that you essentially play a character who comes home from work, and you realize you're in a time loop. You're in a 12-minute time loop in your apartment. You can't leave your apartment, but within those 12 minutes, a police officer comes to your door, kicks the door in, arrests you and your wife, claiming that your wife murdered her father, and then kills you. And so you basically, and so that happens every 12 minutes. So you basically have to try and figure out how to get out of that situation without leaving the apartment, only using things within the apartment and things that you can interact with, of which there are very few things, to try and basically put things in the right sequence and say the right things to the right people at the right time to basically cause different outcomes.
Is it a real time 12 minutes?
Yes, it is a very real time 12 minutes.
Awesome.
Is it 12 minutes or is it 10 minutes? Because
it's 12. I believe it's 12.
Okay.
Because you see the clock once you get to 12 minutes. It is a very real. I mean,
When
there
you
is. Yeah.
When you change stuff, does it stick or does it reset back?
It resets every time.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the thing is that it's like Groundhog Day. So you retain the
knowledge.
you retain the knowledge. So the thing is that. So okay, I don't want to we won't get too spoilery, but the example I'll give is one of the conversation options is to go to your wife and say, "Okay, I'm in a time loop," and she's like, "Okay, prove it," and you're like, "Okay, I know about this thing," and she's like, "Okay, I don't know how you would know about that because I only just did that today." She's like, "But what else?" And it's like, there are two things, and it's very annoying if you got and that gets into the problem with the game. I don't want to take over your segment, Cameron, but I imagine you probably feel similar.
I mean, it's exactly the same thoughts. In terms of the gameplay though, like I enjoyed the gameplay for what it was, but it needs to be more fleshed out.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that its structure as like because this is a very small apartment. It is a bedroom, a living room with a connected kitchen, and a bathroom and a closet, and that's it. It's a tiny fucking place. And so it's like trying to figure out what works with what. Like there are only so many options. Like it doesn't expand out like crazy. So you need to keep in mind, okay, this does this and this interacts with this and this does this. Like it's like there's like 4 steps max at like the most complex you need to worry about. So like it doesn't become overwhelming. And like it's very much like there are only a few things you can interact with, and it's all drag and drop. You just drag it, you pick up the thing and you drag it onto whoever you want to interact with or whatever you want to interact on. So it's like, okay, you can fill up a mug with water and you can put it on the table, or you can put it on the table to serve dessert, or you can put it on the table next to your wife so she can drink it. Like that's pretty much it. And the thing with it is that because everything interacts with each other, they have to keep it small and confined. So when I got to the end of the game, I was like, oh, that's it? And I was like, well, of course that's it. Like, because like it's a small apartment, but I was expecting there are things that like when you learn stuff, it changes the loop and it gives you more options. And I was expecting like, okay, loop 1, loop 2, loop 3, and then maybe like okay, here's a big change, loop 3, loop 4, like 4, 5, 6. It was like, no, we got to loop 3 and that's the game's done. Like it's a very short experience.
And then the other thing around the end too is like the voice acting got confusing for me at the end.
Yeah, it gets
like it's still good voice acting, but like, yeah, I don't want to get into spoilers, but it just doesn't hit home. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's voiced by. There's only 3 characters in the game basically, and it's voiced by Daisy Ridley, that plays the wife. The husband is played by James McAvoy, Xavier from the X-Men reboots.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe plays the cop, and that's pretty much it. So it's all about interacting with them. But the interactions, it falls into that same. And I'm assuming you're going to say the same thing, Cameron, because there was a part you were talking about. You were like, I've got this photo, and the photo proves something. But
I
like
can't connect it. Yeah.
Use photo on man. Use photo on man. And it's like it's not doing it. And
then when you told me how to fix it, it was just like.
Yeah, it was like, no, it's like, I'll say it right now for anyone, and I know Charlotte had exactly the same issue, which is how I know how to fix it, because I did this thing naturally. Yeah. And she was like, the same thing happened to her, and I was like, I couldn't figure it out because we had the same steps. And it's like, no, when you pick up the photo, you need to just click on it in your inventory so you look at it and you say something about it before it becomes properly usable.
Yeah.
And it's like, so even if you know the thing, like it doesn't even if you're a step ahead of the game or 2 steps ahead of the game needs to catch up. And so that's the problem with it. That's the problem with any point and click.
It reminds me of old like mud games back in the day when you'd examine room and you've got to examine room the right way or do something to actually get it to work.
Because of all these triggers, exactly. And it suffers from
I spent 2 hours trying to fix the loop yesterday. I couldn't figure it out. And I was going through the guides and I'm like, there's something clearly I'm missing. Yeah. So I completely relate to Charmander. I wanted to say one funny anecdote though from me moving this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So half my kitchen is still over at my other place. I've given myself a week. I got Pfizer, the Pfizer shot on Wednesday. I've been filling shit ever since, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So I've done a few carloads. I brought over 2 plates, 2 glasses.
What else do you need, though?
And
2 knives and forks.
Yeah, brought over my knives and forks and, some odd stuff. The amount of hell I've gone through the last 3 or 4 days having 2 glasses and then searching apartment to find said 2 glasses.
You got to keep them on a wristband around your arm, mate.
I went to Nikita. I said, "Are you hiding sleeping pills somewhere?" Or
yeah, it's very, very much like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just when we realized today, I'm just like, well, fuck's sake. But I found that quite funny.
So overall, what do you think? Because have you completed it now?
I got the full completion today. I really want a similar game like this. Like I want a 12-minute clone that has a stronger story.
Yeah.
Because I think in terms of gameplay, like this is
it's a real shame. They had such an opportunity, didn't they? It's a real shame. There's such an opportunity with this, especially with having good actors doing all the voiceovers and stuff as well. It's like
I think it's worth playing, and it's like it's meant as like a tech piece, right? Like it was like some guy made, like it's Annapurna, so it's very much like a narrative focused game, and the gameplay is like cool, but it's all about like finding the loop and like how the loop interacts with the story and how the story interacts with your gameplay and stuff, right? Like it's an experimental thing, and I get it. And I think they did a good job for it most of the time, but like it didn't. It's the first time. Like Cameron says, he wants to find other games like this. There are no other games like this. Like that's the thing, is that like there's stuff that takes elements of this. But
Jerdman, who is a Aussie Twitch streamer for Game Pass, he suggested the Forgotten City, so I'm probably going to get into it. Okay, cool. But yeah, it's like I want games like this because they're so good in terms of you can play this solo, you can play this a partner, you can play this in a group, and I guess it's like that Telltale experience of, pick your options. Yep. We know in Telltale though, it doesn't really matter most of the time. Yeah.
Well, that's just funny because I'm actually playing Last Stop, which is another Annapurna game, which is just like that, the Telltale stuff with the conversation stuff.
Where 12 minutes actually feels like when you make decisions, though, it has a meaningful impact.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Wolf Among Us, though, you can rip that guy's arm off and it stays ripped off.
That's true. When you select glass and you do hit him in the face with a glass, that does happen.
I can't wait to Wolf Among Us too.
Well, we'll see if it happens.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it like any day just to hear cancellation and just like, yeah. Anyway,
anything else you've been playing, or is that?
No, that's it. 19:15 for the week. I've mostly been moving.
Yeah, Lee, anything you've been playing on your plate, mate?
I've been playing Ascent this month, basically.
Oh, yep.
Which is awesome. It's gone a game of the year for me so far. It's such a good game. It feels so nice to play. Like it just, once you worked out, because I'm not used to playing two twin sticks. So once you work out the aiming and actually get some decent guns, it's a nice game to just and it flows really well. There's lots of action. There's quite too much walking. That's probably the only criticism I've got. You have to walk places a lot. But you just can't, it's fine. And you walk through and you end up killing lots of people anyway. So that's fun. Yeah. The story's quite cool. It kind of ends in a really good way of like, there's more DLC coming. So that's kind of nice. There's not real twists, but you don't need them. You just want to go through and play a game where you shoot stuff and feel cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's really good. The graphics are amazing. The sound, the music's awesome. I love the music in it as well.
Stephen was telling me the same thing. Like it's he'll probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's his game of the year.
Yeah, it's so cool.
You played solo though, yeah?
Solo though? No, I've not played that.
Sorry,
no.
You played completely solo.
Oh, play solo,
yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So
I have.
All the experiences that I've been hearing in co-op, the game was incredibly broken. Like I had sound issues and that, which really dampened the experience for me. Like visually, it is an amazing game.
It's incredible. Yeah.
But
so I did solo.
Audio, yeah, it was...
I did solo. I completed the game in solo, and then my daughter, who's 15.
Yep.
I was like, oh, you should sit down and play this because there was a couple of achievements for playing co-op mostly. I was like, oh, okay. So she jumped in, and she used my level 29 character, and I used my level 1 character, and we started the game again.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's so cool because if you go in a co-op, you choose new. It actually just keeps your character, and you just start the game again.
Oh, sweet.
I was like, So I've got about 3 missions to do, side missions to do, which I missed. I didn't know it started a new game and completely, but does lose your game though. So if you do this, it loses your old game.
Right.
So I'm now rerunning it again with my level 29 character against all these level 2, 14, 15 plebs. It's really fun. It's really cool. I'm just monstering through it real fast, and it's actually quite cool to. Yeah, it's a cool place to hang out in. I think it's a really good environment to hang out in.
I might actually start it up.
I was going to say, okay, it still has the one unattainable.
Well,
yeah, it does. It does one unattainable. Yeah.
Okay.
Fill the codex. Yeah.
Wait for them to patch.
They'll fix it though. They're bringing out an update. They fixed the side mission one last week, I think. And then they'll fix it one next week.
They're getting there. I think this is going to be a game I come back to.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be on my play later list. Yeah.
It's quite cool. So the kind of story is that the whole world ends in a sort of like because everything's run by corps, and the main corp Ascent goes bankrupt.
Right.
And then there's just chaos. There's like a void basically created by it. And you're a real low level kind of guy, an ident, they call it, indent or something, which does like little jobs for everybody. You're like a slave basically. Right. And then you kind of get picked up by some guy who's slightly higher than you. But then there's obviously another level, and then and it kind of that's what you kind of then it kind of finishes off. It kind of zooms out almost and goes, "This is what's really happening." You're like, "Oh yeah, this is cool." So yeah,
kill your way up the corporate ladder.
Yeah, and you get to Ascent, which at the very top, and there's a bit that's very pretty at the top because everything's kind of dreary, and then it kind of gets nice, and then it starts raining, and then at the very top it's all sunny, and they talk about how they're controlling the weather and it's a nice way to stay and stuff like this. So
wow. Oh yeah, I'm super looking for, like, I love this sort of cyberpunk aesthetic, and it looks
cool. It's cyberpunk. What cyberpunk should have been, basically. I think that's what everyone's saying, because that's the same story, isn't it? You start off as a pleb and you kind of build your way up. So it's the same story. Yeah. But the effects and the music is amazing. Like they've done a really good job for 12 guys or whatever it was made it. It's incredible. Yeah. But I did play Hades briefly as well.
Oh yes.
Just jumped into that. I haven't actually gone very far. I did die maybe 5 or 6 times. And I kind of found it interesting. The first time you die, like, oh crap, I've died. You know, actually, it's good to die because then you get more stuff. And that was kind of that's the loop. You go, okay, I can understand this. So I played it a few times, died a few times, met kind of Poseidon and a few guys that give me cool stuff. Got an arrow, which is kind of useless, but it's an arrow.
I love the bow. The bow's great.
It's not very good at the beginning.
No, it is not.
It's a bit slow. It's a bit slow for shooting stuff. Yeah. So I didn't know that. So I ran through one time and I was like, oh, you've actually got to, oh, wait a minute, I'm dying.
Draw it back,
Or just mash the Y all the time to do all that. Yeah. But it doesn't tell you anything though. That was the only game. You jump in there and it doesn't tell you anything at all, what buttons to press.
That was one of my problems with it too.
So I pressed B all the time initially. And B's like throw your diamond. Yeah, voice acting is amazing. The main guy that you play, his son, Hades' son. I don't know what his name is. He's got a weird name.
Zagreus,
yeah. So he's awesome. I like his kind of attitude and his way he talks, and he seems very depressed, which is quite cool.
And he's a real he's really in Greek mythology too. People thought it was
that's right.
He's constructed all of it for it, but yeah, it's all taken.
Yeah, it's quite cool. And then meeting Achilles is a bit sad.
Yeah,
he's a little bit depressed. But,
well,
he's not having a good day.
They do because the eternity being a fucking standing guard. Yeah, not the best. Yeah,
so that was cool. I enjoyed playing that. I only played it for like 2 sessions. Just I was kind of curious. I was determined to finish Ascent this month, so I didn't want to play too much other stuff. But I also played Art of Rally because I really like the cool art style of Art of Rally.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like a top-down, back, slightly behind view of a rally car driving around in this isometric-y sort of world.
Yeah, I know Kirby was playing.
Shell shaded almost, I guess. It's kind of like a weird look to it.
Yeah, it's kind of blocky-ish. Looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is quite interesting. Yeah, it's really hard to drive the car around. I did find I kept falling off the roads all the time, but it's kind of nice and it's almost relaxing in its way. It is hard to drive. It's like a weird kind of but it's fun. I got a few achievements in it for driving around a bit. And you kind of start off in 1967, I think that's the first year, and so you only have cars available in that year. And then you got the next year, and you have cars in that year, and they kind of give you 4 stages to do per year to complete. And they have daily chat. So one of the achievements is do the daily challenge, which I just did because it's really simple. I think the achievements are relatively straightforward to get as well. Right, quite a few of them will be. They have weekly challenges, which is like 4 different stages to do. It's cool. It's fun. You get achievement for doing fog. You get achievement for driving in the rain. So it's kind of stuff that just easy enough to get. And then played lots of FIFA as well with my English mate who also lives in New Zealand. We had a session of FIFA where he beat me 3-0. Ooh. Yeah, it was harsh.
That's rough.
Yeah. But it's fun. I like FIFA. It's kind of I find that quite relaxing, that game as well. Because I don't play world class because that's ridiculous level. But I play on pro, and I'm kind of good enough to win by 1 or 2-0 with most teams. So
I've been hearing your stories of your road to glory on the XboxCast.
That's right. Yes. It's fun. It is fun game. Yeah, because I'm just me. I started off at Everton. I got sold to Man City for 5 million. And then I wasn't getting a game, so I got loaned out. I asked to get loaned out to Wickham, of all places. Mm-hmm. And I got them they were bottom of the league with no games won. And I managed to get them to like 7th, I think, just not far away from promotion. Scored like 40-odd goals that season, so it was quite nice. And then went to Bournemouth on loan as well, because Man City didn't play me again, so went to Bournemouth now. And again, they're top of the league with me scoring lots of goals. So
just cleaning up.
Just cleaning up, mate. Yeah, it's fun. It's cool. I think that's about it. Other games I've been playing. Mostly Ascent, really.
Yeah.
And I'm playing it through again, second time. I'm playing it for a second time now to get all the side missions.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, actually. All right. I'll quickly go through what I've been playing then. So I finished up Stranger Things 3 before it leaves Game Pass. I had to do my Eliminator run, just relatively painless. It's a 12, 13-hour completion. Just you can get it done if you got time this weekend. Just blow through it. Also did 12 minutes, as Cameron mentioned. I basically echoed that exactly. I think I actually quite like the story, and it's kind of the interactions that don't work as well as I was hoping. But like I said, I was hoping that it was going to be a bit more expansive than what it was. But it's a small little self-contained experience, and I'm glad that I got a chance to play it. I also was looking for something new to play, so I started Sinking City. It's been in my backlog for a long time. I'm a big fan of Frog Wares. They do you might be familiar with them with the Sherlock Holmes series of games that they do. So there's a little bit of that in this. It's kind of like half the game is walking around doing conversation trees. The whole gist of it is that you are getting weird Cthulhu visions, and you're basically being called to this island called Oakton or something. That's kind of near Cape Cod. Why
does this sound like your 360 game? It's blank.
Yeah, Deadly Premonition.
Yeah, Deadly Premonition. That's it.
I got some heavy Deadly Premonition vibes from this. It's not like nearly as wacky or anything like as ridiculous as that, but it's a lot more straight on the Cthulhu stuff. But it references Cthulhu like straight off. Like there's like a cult of Dagon. It's all about like mind-bending stuff and weird, people going insane and suffering from insanity that's infectious, and it's really cool. Like I like it a lot. But the whole thing is that there was a big crack in the earth that opened up, and essentially the madness escaped from it, and it flooded the city is flooded. So you basically have to pick where you're going.
You're a Ghostbuster.
Kind of. It's like it's kind of like it's kind of what it is. Like you're a private detective going around. You're trying to figure out where these visions have come from and why you've been led to this town. But apparently a bunch of people have. And so you all get referred to as newcomers. And it's all very culty and very insular. And there are people there who look like fish. And there's the guy there who looks like a monkey. He looks like an ape, like he's bred with an ape. Anyway, it's very, very weird. But it's very rich in terms of detail and mythology. And it draws on a lot of that Cthulhu stuff. And there's just like the Sherlock Holmes games, the later ones, where it's like, okay, do your deductions, collect evidence, make decisions around so one of the examples, one of the early, there's 9 cases in the game, 9 or 10. I think I'm at case 5. Like the second case has you trying to find an expedition that went down into that, to try and find out what happened when the earth opened up. And one of the guys came back and he died and he was completely nuts. And so it's like, okay, well, the only clue I have is what happened on that ship. So we're going to try and trace back to where they were and then go down there myself. And you find out that everyone there, they picked up the wrong fucking artifact and they just all went completely nuts and started killing each other. There's a few of them left. One of them thinks he's a bunny rabbit. One of they've gone completely mad. And so your option is, okay, I put it all together. When I go back to the guy who commissioned the expedition, do I tell him, oh, hey, you should probably go back and get these guys, knowing that the madness that they have is literally infectious and will spread throughout the city? Or do I just leave them to their fate and wait for them to die and just lie and tell them that there were no survivors? And so it's there's a lot of moral decisions and that sort of stuff. It's a very interesting game in terms of story. I'm looking forward to playing more of it, but in terms of gameplay, it's pretty rough. it's very ropey. Like you also need to fight things. Like you have a gun, you shoot. Like the other half of the game is combat, so you're fighting like weird Cthulhu beasts that have erupted from people's minds, and you also have like an insanity meter, and if that goes too high, you start seeing things start attacking you.
What's the view? What do you see?
It's third person, so
third person. Oh, okay.
So you see yourself, but it's like you'll start seeing like weird people coming towards you with guns and like people hanging themselves and all weird kinds of shit. And it's like, okay, that's at like level of insanity. And then if you get lower than that, the enemies that you're fighting come back as like shadow creatures that chase you around and like they walk through walls like actual ghosts. And if you hit your full insanity, you just die. So you have to like manage your insanity and your health meter and that kind of stuff. It's got like a narrative, like you can play on like story difficulty and not really have to worry about it too much because the combat is not great. And you do also have to occasionally fight other people. The AI is not very good, but like just put it on easy, just kind of walk through and just experience the game. It's really, really interesting. It's very ambitious for a game from a studio of that size. Like the Sherlock Holmes games were like good for what they were, but they were essentially point and click games with some deductive stuff and a couple of puzzle solving things. Whereas this is like when it's like, okay, I need to go to this address. You need to pull up a map and put go on the map and actually find the street, put an icon on it, and then try and find your way to it, avoiding infected zones where the beasts have come through, or trying to find a boat to get you through the flooded sections. And then you get there and you decide, okay, do I kick in the door and shoot everyone, or do I try to talk my way through this? Like, there's a lot of different options. I mean, most of it doesn't really matter. Like, you can solve things whatever way you want, but it's interesting to have some sort of agency in the world.
I don't know. Like, when you're describing all this sounds like a vampire to me. I don't know why.
And that's actually, I was going to bring that. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, it super reminds me of Vampire. Like, it has the exact same feel, where it's like it's an open world sort of game with a lot of different characters.
With narrative connections?
A lot of narrative, okay. Yeah, a lot of narrative connections. It doesn't quite have the depth, I think, but everyone's talking with everyone. There's all kinds of conspiracies going on, but instead of vampires, we're talking about Cthulhu. Yeah, it very much reminds me of Vampire in a lot of ways, and it has that level of production value as well.
I don't know why you're talking about this, and I'm just like, I really want to play Vampire now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I was like, what is the game this reminds me of? And Vampire was the one that came to mind. Okay. So if you liked Vampire, this is definitely your kind of game.
And this has a stack as well, yeah?
It does have a stack because of the whole issues that that Frogwares had with Big Ben. They've gone on to republish the games themselves because the original one got taken down. So if you've got the old version, you can play it both of them. Cool. So I've been enjoying that, and I was enjoying that up until Psychonauts 2 came out.
I just want to quickly test something before you move on.
Yes.
All right, cool. It is.
We're good?
Yeah, I don't know why the achievement thing crashed.
Oh, it didn't work? Okay.
And now it's working. Everything's just not working. Cool.
Perfect. It would not be a Hall of Gamers episode if things didn't break.
Well, it's because you're doing a podcast. That's why it's not
exactly.
working.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, you hit record, break it all. I started and finished Psychonauts 2, so I finished that this afternoon.
Holy crap. Thank you.
It's incredible. It's such a good game. Everybody needs to play this game. If you enjoy platformers at all, good writing, I mean that's pretty, and like collectathons, like those are the three things. This game is incredible.
How long did it take you to complete it then?
About 15 hours.
Okay.
And that's like complete, like 100%.
Oh wow. Okay.
So like you like I basically I got through the story last night, and then I spent today or this afternoon
just tidying up.
Basically, there's a lot of collectibles, like a huge amount. Most of them are pretty standard and they're fine, but each level has a certain amount of figments of imagination in there, and they're little like outlines that you need to collect. If you played the first Psychonauts, it's just more of the same, but they've refined it. It's also a lot more mature in terms of its subject matter. Like it goes into a lot of stuff around like you're going into a lot of people's heads. So for those who don't, Psychonauts basically is a game where you play as Rasputin, who is a 10-year-old psychic who's basically run away from the circus to join. He goes to join a camp for psychics, and now basically he uncovers a big conspiracy, and now he's basically gone to the Psychonauts HQ, which is the basically the psychic fighting force of the world, essentially.
He's an intern, isn't he? He's an intern.
So he starts off as an intern basically. He gets there. He's like, hey man, I saved them. I saved them and did all this cool stuff. And like, cool, bro, you're an intern. Here's your badge. And so you have to basically, to go through a hazing ritual with all the other fucking interns, and they're really shitty to you. But then you start going into people's minds like you did in the original game. So the whole thing is that you go into people's minds, and all their minds are made up of how they construct themselves and how they see themselves. So the first person you go into is very structured. It's a classroom. She's a teacher. And then once you kind of go through it, you realize that she was originally a doctor. And so her whole thing is a hospital. So you're going through the hospital and the whole thing is that you want to go on a bigger mission, but she's very risk adverse. And she's like, no, we can't do that. It's way too risky. You guys are kids. This could be dangerous. Yeah. And so what you do is you're like, maybe I can change your mind from the inside. So you go and start fucking around with her head. And it, as you would expect, it goes horrifically wrong. And so you have to go back into her head. And now it's you basically change it from like, okay, she's also massively in debt because she was a medical student. And the Psychonauts also are, financially underwater. She's like, we need to find some money. And so you basically start reconnecting her ideas. She's like, okay, risk equals death. So I changed risk equals money. And suddenly she becomes a gambling addict, which is very bad. Because the mission was at a casino. So you go back into her head and suddenly it's still a hospital, but now everything is a mix of hospital and casino. So you go into the maternity ward and it's a couple who are spinning a wheel trying to win a baby. And every time they keep losing.
Is that the one voiced from James Willem and Elise?
I think
so. Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. So they keep spinning the wheel, and it was really funny because eventually, so the whole thing is that you need to go. You're like, okay, well, I need to fix this, and so it's all about helping people through their issues, but also realizing what power you have over their heads. And so you go into different people's minds, and they have different issues of things that There's a group of people who've gone through a very traumatic event, and they've all reacted to that event in a very different way. It's actually like a very mature, interesting idea of looking at trauma, in a way that I was not expecting. The original game had you going into a guy who's obsessed with who's obsessed with conspiracies about a milkman. And so when you go into his head, it's all like 1950s suburbia, but there's guys in trench coats with hats with dark eyes and you can't see them. And there were cameras coming out of bushes and stuff. And it's all conspiracy shit. And it was all played for laughs. And a lot of the stuff is still funny. It's a very, very funny game. But the stuff they get into, I want to talk about it so much more, but the real joy of the game is going into putting your door on someone's head, going into it and seeing what the fuck they've got in there.
Yeah.
And because there's one character who has a split personality. He has 3 split personalities. So he has three different things going on in his head. And so you basically go between them trying to patch them up to fix them. Anyway, it's so good. And so yeah, it's all very thematic. So you go around collecting figments of imagination. You need to help people with their emotional baggage, which is literal baggage. So you go and find a bag tag, like a purse tag or a duffel bag tag or a steam trunk tag, and you got to match it with the collectible. So it's get one collectible, match it with the other one. And then they also have mind vaults that you need to find, where it's they hide their repressed memories. And so every time you open one, you get a little slideshow of a big event in their life, like a death or a change or something like that, and it helps you understand the character more. The gameplay is basically you going into people's heads and collecting things and helping them solve their problems through platforming and puzzles. And also there's some combat. So the combat is also very thematic. You're fighting off sensors. So they're guys in glasses with no stamps, and they try to stamp out anything that shouldn't be in your head. And then they get upgraded to big ones who have knuck dusters that say stop on them. But you also need to fight judgment, and you also need to fight panic attacks and mood swings. Yeah. And regrets and all that kind of stuff. It's all very, very interesting. You can put it, and it also has a lot of good accessibility options. You can put God mode on and just platform through the game and just not have any worries whatsoever. It's very, very accessible. The only drag is that the platforming is not quite as tight as I was hoping. And if you played the original Psychonauts, you kind of know what I mean. It's reminiscent. It's better than that, but it's a bit floaty, and it's not quite as precise as you want to be for a game where you're platforming a lot.
Meat Circus?
So yeah, they completely avoid the Meat Circus thing. They don't have the difficulty track, which is good. In terms of the difficulty, it curves almost perfectly. So it's like that, and the collectibles, all the other collectibles are pretty easy to find, and there are good guides for them if you don't know. But the figments of imagination, they're upwards of sometimes 250 in a person's head, and they're just all over the place. So I spent most of this afternoon just going around being okay, fuck, I'm missing one figment in 10 different ones. So I'm just going between the levels and just combing through them. And most of them I found relatively easily, but there was one that was a piece of grass. It was like a piece of like beach grass in a bunch of other pieces of beach grass. It was orange on pink. So I'm colorblind, right?
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I've combed this entire level, and I'm like, okay, I found one that was close by, so I probably haven't searched this area well enough. And I'm standing there. I turned to Alice, and I'm like, look, I can't find it. And she's like, walk forward. I'm like, what? And I walk forward, and it's right there. I couldn't see it.
Oh, so don't have a colorblind mode then?
So it does have a colorblind mode, but I didn't discover that till after I was in the road.
Yeah, right. Awesome.
So that's also in the accessibility options. Anyway, yeah.
I'm interested to know because I've only played 5 minutes of it, and I thought the recap for Psychonauts 1 was amazing.
Yes.
From what I saw. Also, the content warning.
Yes.
So content warning. The only reason I wanted to bring that up was our discussion about Boyfriend Dungeon about a fortnight ago. Serviceable, or like does it do a good job?
It's good. I mean, it's upfront. It just says, hey, look, there's like we touch on a lot of psychological stuff here. Most of it's done in a very lighthearted way, but there are people dealing with like trauma around like death or not knowing who they are, and like I don't want to get too much into it because obviously the joy is the discovery, but they do say, hey, look, we touch on this. Also, the other thing is that the first level is in the head of a dentist who's deranged. So everything is like teeth related, and it's very fucking weird and creepy.
So dental phobia as well.
Dental phobia is also pointed out. It's relatively light, but it is only just the first level. But there's and they fucking shine a light on it where they're like, okay, you need to unzip these teeth to get into this next area, and the guy's like, oh my god, that's the most horrific thing ever. And like it is, like it gave me the heebie-jeebies. But it's lighthearted, it's cartoony, but I think everyone should play this game. And like. The thing is that I really, really hope, and that we're talking to Tim Schafer, like, because this game's, people are super excited for it. It's been in the works for years. And he was like, absolutely, I'd love to remake the first game, and they need to do that. Because, like, using this engine and the stuff they've learned doing this to completely remake the first game is something that would just be incredible.
Double Fine is, like, amazing at making, like, unique experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. Like and Alison was watching she plays, and she's like, "How the fuck did people come up with this? They must have been on some serious drugs because every mind you go into is very different, including one that is very, very psychedelic." Because the whole thing is that like they also make jokes about it because it's like you're going to the minds of a group of people who were together in the '60s. So I mean, they don't say drugs, right? But they're like there's a. Oh, it's fucking it's like it's Yellow Submarine all over again. Right? Like it's just like it's super psychedelic in terms of like bright colors and.
So are the graphics good?
Yeah,
they're really good graphics. Yeah,
they are good. I mean, it's not like it's not like super high def or anything like that. Like but
it's Psychonauts. It's colorful.
It's nice. Very colorful. Yeah, it's got a style and it plays with that style really, really well. Yeah. But like. Yeah. Anyway, I cannot say enough good things about this game. I had a fan this month has been some of the best gaming I've had in years.
Game of the okay, this is going to be very cruel to you, but Hades or Psychonauts 2?
I think Hades is probably a better game.
Yep.
In terms of like the gameplay loop, the story, the story is kind of okay, but the gameplay loop and like playing the game, I'd much rather be playing Hades a lot more. But like if I was like watching or just experiencing it, like the story of Psychonauts and what you're learning and just kind of the experience you have while playing it, I think is a lot better. Okay. But I would still say probably if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Hades. But I understand that it's a roguelite and that's not like platformers are a genre that I love, and like this kind of game is 100% up my alley. It was 100% what I was expecting and surpassed that. Roguelites are games that I fucking hate, and Hades even overtook that.
Yes. I agree with you, actually. Yeah. I don't love roguelites. I find them a real pain in the ass mostly. Yeah. But yeah, this one felt good when you died. So that was kind of...
Exactly. I couldn't believe it. So like I have to go with Hades. But
I'll find it very interesting when we get to the end of the year and actually rank our favorite games of this year, because there have been... I think this is probably... I'm sure we say this every year, but this has probably been one of the best years in gaming.
No, so everyone talks about Xbox having no games. I'm so many games. I can't play the games. Yeah. There's so many games. It's ridiculous.
There's too many of them.
Yeah. It's just insane. And not having like this massive like tent holding game or whatever. Like, do they need it? They just bring out all these awesome little games.
Well, that's the thing is that's the Game Pass strategy, right? Like Sony went in the direction to say, like, hey, we're going to have our big exclusives and we have one out every 3 or so months. And Xbox is like, yeah, we'll do a few of those every now and then. But like Game Pass is the future. Yeah. And we're just going to keep pushing stuff onto that. That's good games to play.
And there's so many indies like sprinkled in between.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Moonglow Bay's coming out in October, and I'm so keen just to have like a fishing experience, which is weird. I usually hate fishing games, and I saw this and I'm just like, nah, this has tourist vibes. I'm all for this.
Farming Simulator, I played that for a bit as well, which was interesting. It's a stupid game. It's a stupid game.
Chat points out that the main character is also voiced by the same guy as the voice of Invader Zim. And there's an ability where you get like a little mini version, like a mini version of yourself to help you with like puzzles like that need two people. I'm almost certain he's voiced by the guy who does Gur. Gur.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, he's voiced by Gur because it's just like having Gur in there. In fact, like you buy badges to change your abilities. One of the badges is tell him to shut the fuck up, so he has all his quips. But his quips are hilarious. Anyway, I don't want to spoil it because it's like people need to play this game.
I love Gur so much.
Some levels are better than others. Like they aren't all bangers, but it starts off really strong, and I think it ends pretty strong too. The middle chapters are still good, but like not as like interesting. Anyway, we've been running along, so I don't want to harp on it too much. But that's but I think everyone should definitely play that game.
The reviews are good as well. Like it's been really high meta rating as well.
Yeah, I'd say it's a 9 easy. But yeah, I think that puts me at 5,200 for this week.
Cool. I'll quickly go across into our Hall of Gamers leaderboard. Red smashing this week, 16,525. Why didn't I put his numbers there? Anyway, Martel, 12,500. And Valak on 12,385.
It's a very AHA list this week.
Yep. Quick shout outs to our new Patreons, Admiral, subscribing at tier 3. Sorry, Admiral Awesome. And Odran, subscribing at tier 1. We'll go back to that and pretty much cover questions. Hey guys, I used to love the Assassin's Creed series and would play each new game for hours until Assassin's Creed 3 ruined the series for me. Have any series you enjoyed been ruined by a bad game? And do bad games in a series keep you from getting serious completions? Thanks for taking my question from our questionnaire extraordinaire. Isaac, thank you once again. I don't want to say ruined, but there's been games that have dampened my experience.
Sure.
First one that comes to mind is Forza Horizon 2 having the road trips. In the Xbox One version. That, I mean, 4 weeks for one achievement's just ridiculous.
Yeah, having a long grind in that is not the best, right? Especially because I know you're looking for so many series completions, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a hard ask. It's
I think the basic answer for this one is any game in a series that decides that they're going to push the completion out by like 50 hours for having one grinding achievement.
Yeah,
it comes down to lists.
We've seen less of that going forward, right? But it's still.
Is this question for just completing games like achievement hunting, or generally?
I guess generally, like in terms of like having something in a game in a series that's kind of just sort of soured you on it.
So Halo 5,
right, is a great example. Yeah.
Yeah, or even Gears 5 though, because I think Gears 5 is not Gears in that kind of 2 open world. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything.
The Saints Row games have made you very suspicious of.
Yeah. Well, that's
the latest
actually,
ones. So.
In terms of I guess like the previous Saints Row games have been really, really good, and then Agents of Mayhem, while not technically part of the series, is still set in the same universe and kind of soured me on this next one. So I think that's probably not a bad shout.
I'm trying to think of series off the top of my head.
I think Assassin's Creed though. I played a Valhalla to a point until it crashed my save and then lost 10 hours of work. And I haven't gone back again since. And I did that. I got that day one with my Xbox and played it until that. And then I haven't gone back to it since. Because do I really want to lose? Because I lost quite a lot of stuff. I cleared areas and now I have to go back and clear these areas again.
Yeah.
You're like, do I really want to go and do that again?
Apex dampened Titanfall for me because they should Titanfall 3.
Yeah, there is that.
I'm having a look through Far Cry 2.
Yeah, I was just about to say Far Cry 2 definitely dampened my enjoyment of the rest of the Far Cry. The thing is, Far Cry 2 is a bit of a different one because all the games afterwards are really good.
Yeah.
So like it was, and I still enjoyed Far Cry 2 for what it was in terms of single player.
Need for Speed.
Yes, actually, yes. Yep. Actually, but they've had a lot of bad ones.
They've been since a while now. Yeah.
I'm going for the series. Dead Rising 4. Probably.
Dead Rising 4 is.
People.
Yep. Yeah, probably Borderlands the pre-sequel as well. Like it's not like terrible, but like it doesn't nearly match up with 2 and 1.
2 is amazing. I didn't realize
Yeah.
how good 2 was.
2 is really, really good.
Wolfenstein Youngblood.
I suppose the opposite to this question is, what games have they pulled out like another one after a bad one, which has pulled you back again?
Ooh, that is a good idea.
Hopefully Halo Infinite.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Ghost Recon or something like that? Like Ghost Recon
I
those
know-
games?
Yeah, Ghost Recon 2 actually was a lot better than 1,
Yeah.
and I've enjoyed the Ghost Recon series. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I can say COD because they're all so far like. What came first, Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops?
The original Black Ops came first. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it was Modern Warfare. I know that one of the Modern Warfares my buddies tried to get me into, and I'm just like this isn't my thing. Yeah, I'll play Halo and I'll play that. Black Ops 1 is still one of my favorite FPS games of all time.
Yeah.
It has such an incredible story.
Final Fantasy is probably a good answer for that, and on both counts, because it got like the equality between those titles swings so wildly.
Yeah, but what 10 came out and then 10x2 came out, and it was
Yeah.
just so different. They were-
Exactly,
yeah.
and I fucking hated it. Like I love 10, and 10-2 is just like I know why people enjoy it, but it's like I don't like the active time battle system, and I don't like how restrictive it is. And then like I enjoyed 12, but I didn't enjoy 13, but I did enjoy 15. So I was like, it's just like I have no idea what it's going to be. I'm like every time I'm like I'll play it because I
It's
want
a
to
mystery.
see.
Yeah.
But it's like there's. Hopefully that answers your question there, Isaac. I don't think I have any more. answers.
I'm going for it. I'm just looking at the series and.
I mean, I guess Dead Space 3 was definitely the worst one.
Oh, Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh yeah, true.
So
true.
2 pulled it back again.
Definitely, yeah.
2 points. Fallout 76. So the next Fallout game comes out after Fallout 76. Will you buy it and will you get it day one?
Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, like, because
Like-
also I didn't really like Fallout 4 that
No,
much.
4
either.
wasn't that great as well. Yeah.
Like it was fine, but like Fallout 3 was a lot better, and New Vegas was fantastic. So
Yeah. Different company changes, then. So some of a company picks up a
yeah,
series, then yeah.
it's always a bit iffy.
I'll be honest, Metro.
Okay, yeah,
Last Light felt like a misstep after playing 2033.
really interesting. Okay,
To me, I like 2033 just had such an amazing story. Last Light, I had to try and push myself through.
I love 2033. I'm gonna probably play it on PC again. Actually, Dragon Age is probably another one. One was amazing. 2 was a bit of a shocker, and then 3 is kind of
Better.
yeah. Three is not nowhere near as good as 1, but is definitely better than 2.
Well, 2 was because of consoles, wasn't it? Didn't they try and make it for consoles or something?
Well, yeah,
Wasn't
they also pushed it out way too early. Like there was like
so it wasn't finished.
it wasn't done. Yeah, it was very much like we need to get this out for I think it was like the next year or 2 years later. They were not ready for another game.
I got the perfect answer for this. Microsoft Casual Collection.
You-
Wordament just ruined it.
oh god, yeah.
Oh, Mass Effect.
Yeah, Mass Effect. Yeah, exactly. BioWare have got a real there. Yeah.
I'm trying to. Oh god, now we're getting into the real trash series completions.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm trying to think of outside of Xbox too. I guess Kingdom Hearts with Chains of Memories.
Yeah, well, actually, basically anything outside of the main games, really. I think 1 and 2 are pretty fantastic.
Coded. Jeez.
Yeah, coded and like Birth by Sleep and stuff. I just don't think. I mean, they're fine games, but they definitely don't. And like I like 3 for what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't really think of any others. I'm trying to think of something far out there. Mafia 3.
Oh, actually, yeah. I mean, like I played through it and I had an okay time with it, but it's nowhere near as good as 1 and 2.
If they
One
produced
was
Anthem
amazing.
2, if they did Anthem 2, would you get it?
No,
Would you trust them? No.
Oh no,
No.
wait till it hits $2 bin.
exactly. Yeah, I'll wait for their 20-year plan.
That's right.
I'll still pick it up. I mean, it's a cheap enough cover, $2.
Pick it up for the steel bookcase.
Nice coaster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the question, Isaac. I think that's. I think we've answered that. Do we have any others? Do we have any others in the chat?
Ask your questions now, or I'm just gonna. I don't know. Whatever.
No, I'm not waiting for that. You kidding me? We've already been at this for almost 2.5 hours.
Well, you say it like you don't enjoy our time with our guest.
Oh, mate, I enjoy it. I guess it's you I fucking have to put up with.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much gonna wrap up the show.
Sounds good.
If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Discord, discord.io/GPNGG. We've also got our Instagram, GPN Hall of Gamers, our Twitter, at GPN Hall of Gamers, which Cameron's doing.
Wrong podcast.
Wrong point. Cameron's doing a force of habit. Cameron's doing a really good job of shit posting as much as possible. This was some really good stuff. I love it. We've also got our email. You can email to us at gpnhallofgamers@gmail.com. And we've also been putting these episodes up with a little bit more polish on the GPN YouTube page. A little bit more polish. I edit out a thing here and there, and I put some music in there. So you come check out our YouTube channel. You can also come out and also check out the other podcasts and other content that's happening on the GPN channel, like the Game Barbecue Pit, Xbox Legacy Cast, and a bunch of other video stuff that's going on. It's great. We love it over there.
Yep.
All right. If you want to find me, you can find me on Neomaster on pretty much everything. True Achievements, Xbox, Discord. Lee, what about you, mate?
I'm Lee Howard, LeeHoward on Xbox and on Twitter. And I tweet out during the week all the Xbox news that I find, which we talk about in the podcast. So people were following. We have a Discord for the Xbox Cast, which is called the Xbox Cast. We have a website, xboxcast.co.nz, which goes to our Patreon. We have a YouTube, which is the Xbox Cast. Just if you Google the Xbox Cast, we're the first 6 pages, basically. Xbox Cast is one word, though. You have to do that.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's
great SEO. I did good SEO at the beginning.
There we go.
Mate. All over it.
Fantastic. Cameron, what about you?
If you want to catch me, it's pretty much Shadowless Edge on everything. As this room is pretty much set up, except for everything behind me. So I'm basically just going to be in full content creation from now on. So don't be surprised if the podcast is restructured by next week.
we might have a brand new design because we have those every 3 episodes.
I mean, like I said, I'm just still so happy that this works now. I mean,
well, hey, look, I love it. It looks good. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us. I thank you, Lee, for joining us. We really appreciate you having you on.
That's been fun, mate. It's been good.
And we'll definitely have to get the rest of the Xbox Cast on at some stage as well. And also, I want to have a special shout out to Charmander for moderating the chat and just being an overall great person. Well, any further ado?
Taking all our Patreon.
And yes, exactly. We're being also, giving us $10 a month. We really appreciate that. So, anyway, that's us for episode 7 of the Hall of Gamers. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Good night.